Remember, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. First, the overture.
Shadows fall, dimming the light. Whispers grow, a rising tide. Vindicator, where do you hide? Steel is over, heart ablaze. Through smoky haze, he sets his gaze. Justice calls a burning need. A city's wounds he vows to heed. From cobbled streets to tower high, Vindicator takes to the sky. Strikes back with iron hands. Defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. Whispers turn to thunderous roar. As shadows creep, he slams the door on tyranny's cruel, grasping hand. He fights for freedom, takes a stand with courage born of darkest night. He ignites hope, a guiding light. Strikes back with iron hands. Defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. Though battles rage and darkness reigns, hope's never burn within his veins. He'll never yield, he'll never fall. He answers freedom's clarion call. Strikes back with iron hands. Defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. A symbol etched against the moon. Vindicator rising soon.
Hello everybody, how you all doing? I apologise for all the noise. Obviously it's November the 5th, so you're going to hear fireworks in the background. You might even hear the dog barking in a bit. She's not scared of the fireworks. She actually wants to go outside and chase them and try and catch them because she's a loopy dog. So just thought I'd let you all know. So how are you all doing? How are you all doing in the chat? How's the chat today? Hope it's all been great and awesome. So, Allahu Akbar. Okay, RJ, okay. Hello mate, how you doing? Hey Steve, how you doing? The #1 mod, obviously. He's on. Hi Kenny, how you doing mate? Nathan mate, how you doing? Let's have a look, see if there's anybody else. That's it for the time being. Right, so obviously that there may be disruption in the chat. We may have a few trolls coming in tonight. If anybody comes into the chat and starts trying to disrupt the chat, ignore them. Steve will take care of them. Steve's got, well, he doesn't know yet, but yeah, Steve, any trolls in the chat tonight, mate, just kick them instantly. Kick them instantly. We've got no time for those sort of people tonight. Just get rid. As to that, it's like World War III going off outside, but it's awesome. It's our traditions. Hello, how you doing? How you doing? Right, so we've got a few things to have a look at. We'll have a look at some stuff on Twitter first. Of course, we'll have a look at this first, actually, because this is very interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to play it. We'll have a look. Got to be really careful with the news clips because it can be copyrighted. They don't like it, so we might have to play it and chat a little bit as we're watching it. But is that sharing? Yeah, that's sharing. Right. So, Muslim terrorist jailed in Glasgow. Shahzad Khan was hoarding gunpowder, ball bearings, and metal pipes. He's been given only 3 years in prison. Now, I want to know how the hell he's got his hands on gunpowder, because that's heavily regulated for obvious reasons. How the hell has he got his hands on gunpowder, ball bearings, and metal pipes? I can understand, but gunpowder. And to me, that's all the makings of, obviously, pipe bombs. But pipe bombs, I would suggest, are in place of, they're more or less just homemade hand grenades, aren't they? So not really something I'd associate with a terrorist attack. That sounds like somebody's going to war to me when we start building pipe bombs. Interesting. And the thing is, right, they caught one guy. What about if he's working in a cell and there are literally hundreds of caches of gunpowder, ball bearings, and metal pipes? They've only got one of them. Very scary, especially with the Christmas markets coming up. They would be prime targets for this sort of activity. So, yeah, scary. I'm not going to play the news, but it's Sky, so I'm definitely not going to play. Is it? No, Scottish TV. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to play it. I'm not sure what they would be like. We'll have a look. So look and see what other things we've got to look at. Put a chat. B&Q. I don't think you'd be getting gunpowder from B&Q. Maybe the pipes and the ball bearings. Yeah. Hi, Craig. How you doing? I hope you and your family are well. You have everything to do. Thank you, mate. Right, let's have a look at. Hello, Lloyd. How you doing, mate? I want to know why only got 16 months. I take it if he doesn't post anything. They didn't post anything online. Yeah, exactly. 3 years for holding gunpowder, ball bearings, and pipes. Surely that should have been under the Terrorism Act. Surely. Then you get more time than that. Getting, yeah, right. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. I wasn't going to do one tonight, but this is all my my girlfriend Michelle's idea. She said, "Why don't you do a live stream on November the 5th?" And it was a prime opportunity to do one. Oh yeah, we want to see this guy. I'll show you this guy. He's insane. So this is from a person called Wall Street Apes. Muslim claims New York for Islam. We're done hiding. We're done. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all humanity needs to be part of, Islam, and we will not stop until it enters every home. So basically just saying what they're going to do. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if whatever it is. On this, my brothers and sisters, there is no God worthy of worship except Allah and the final prophet Muhammad. Obviously, they've got a Muslim mayor now, and a far left Muslim mayor and an ultra conservative Muslim mayor. I suppose you could say extremist one. Right, we'll just play it and let's see what they've got to say.
We're done hiding. We're done. We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be a part of, Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the Ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadan Rasulullah. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, and the God of the last and final prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We're done.
So basically, they're telling you what they want to do. This is what happens when all the Muslim countries kick out all their extremists because they want to take over everything. They just basically take over everywhere they are. And we've been called out on this. I mean, the United Arab Emirates have basically said, why have you allowed these people in your country? Why do you allow the Muslim Brotherhood to exist and have authority in your countries? We've kicked them out because they're extremists. And everywhere they go, they try to take over. This is why they've been kicked out of Muslim countries for extremism. So what they do, they come and set in the tolerant, liberal Western countries who welcome them with open arms. And then we get stuff like this where they just basically want to take over. They colonize and they take over a place. Tommy Robinson was warning them about this in America when he went over there. It was saying they will take over, they will grow in number, and then they will simply take over. New York is lost, just as London is lost, just as Birmingham is lost, just as Bradford is lost. They just don't learn. They will not learn. Right, let's have a look. Tom, Happy America, they let the devil in, exactly. I'm happy. Look, what's that? I'm happy. Preston have scored early against Swansea. Okay. Not really a follower of football, really. Hey Tom, how you doing? I know Steve, I'm onto him, mate. He spells a certain word with the same way in all his posts. Yeah, it's obviously the you know who we know. We know what's going on, don't we? Apparently, the crime an all-time in the Middle East. Oh, I wonder time. Apparently, crime was an all-time low in the Middle East. I wonder why? Yeah, because they kicked all their extremists out. I don't want to sound depressing, but honestly, I think we are too far gone. I think a lot of people think like that. The scary thing is, though, that when countries are too far gone, there's only one option left on the table, isn't there? And we don't really want that option. But I can't say too much, but read between the lines. I think maybe all of our peaceful solutions have come too late. I think at the first sign of this demographic trying to dictate policy in this country, and if they don't get what they want, threatening to riot, then that should have been the point where we kick these people out of the country, just like their own people kick them out of their own countries because they're extremists. That was the point we should have started doing. It's when they started demanding halal, when they started demanding special treatment. But unfortunately, our politicians became too dependent on their votes and so started to appease them instead of drawing a line in the sand and standing up against them. And now, obviously, this is where we are in this country. Nobody dare upset them for fear of them kicking off and rioting and kicking off in the country. That should tell you everything you need to know about these people. Before you know, there will be a UK Muslim, but there already is. There already is. It'll happen. It'll happen before the next election. All those independent Muslim parties will all join together. They will. They will all join together and form a network. And that will be the first UK Muslim party. That's what will happen. Yes, the extreme kick out option is probably the only solution. Yeah, At the first sign, what should have happened was, at the first sign of extremist mosques, they should have been shut down, banned, the preachers deported, kicked out of the country, saying, we don't want you here. We don't want that sort of thing here. The message should always be with people, you're welcome in this country as long as you integrate and follow our traditions and rules. That should be the message. If you don't, then we should take a hard, extreme line like other countries do. Other countries do this. If you don't follow their traditions or you try to disrupt the country and try to assert your own beliefs in that country, you'll be kicked out, and that's perfectly acceptable. The lefties are all for everyone else following the traditions of other countries. They're all for that, except for their own country. The hypocrites. It's like they preach about protecting borders of other countries. Oh, we've got to protect the sovereignty of these countries. We've got to protect the borders of these countries. And yet when it comes to their own country, oh no, open borders. It's racist to suggest that we have a strong border and a strong immigration system. That's racist. Yeah, it's the default position for every other country in the world. That's how mental these people are. If you watch my video from earlier of that elderly gentleman when he came past, they think it's perfectly all right to just call random people they don't know arseholes in the street. They think they're justified in doing that because of their belief. And you saw what happened. You saw what happened when I challenged him on it. What happened? Walked away, didn't want to talk about it, couldn't stand up to be challenged on what he believed. And I turned it back on him. I said, because he generalized, he said, I asked him, I said, how do you think I'm a racist? And what did he say? He says, you're with that group over there, which is generalizing, which is bigoted. They are everything they claim others to be. They are bigoted, they are racist, and they are intolerant. That's what they are. The far left. That's the far left for you. The Marxists, the communists, the socialists. They're everything they claim others to be. Two-tier wanker traitor, storm out. Yeah, exactly. Agree with that. Yeah, that Jack Lansky is a dangerous bastard. He's being pushed as well. Yeah. Yeah, Lloyd, we're looking at 2 million being thrown out. Yeah. The thing is, though, I want to ask this question as well, right? Because I know loads of people are dead against civil war, but they're totally for re-immigration and mass deportations, as I am. Totally up for that. But don't you think that when those mass deportations start and the re-immigrations start, that the Muslim population in this country will kick off and will most likely have a civil war anyway? That's what I think is going to happen. That's why I'm suspicious of any party that claims that's what they're going to do, because ultimately they've got to know that. They've got to know that the minute they start deporting jihadists and people prominent within the Muslim community, then they're going to kick off. And that's what worries me. That's what makes me think they're not really going to do it. They're not really going to implement it, because they know as well as we do that things will go to shit pretty quickly when that starts to happen. That's the only thing that worries me about any party that's claiming to do re-immigration, and especially ones that were reluctant in the first place. You know who I'm talking about, the Reform Party. They were very reluctant to talk about re-immigration and mass deportations. They only wanted to mass deport the people that came after they got in power. They weren't even interested in deporting the people that were already here that really need to go. And it's the U-turn. And to me, it looks deeply suspicious when parties do that. And I'm not just talking about Reform, I'm talking about any party. Any party that immediately jumps on that bandwagon is immediately suspicious to me, because it's like, you're just telling us what we want to hear. The minute you get into power, you'll make your excuses not why you're not doing it. That's what I can see happening. I have a feeling America and UK are being targeted specifically because of our influence on the world. spreading Christianity, etc., 100% aggrieving. They won't go down quietly. They will hide and organise. Yeah, that's probably what they're preparing for. They're probably preparing for that. Right-wing parties are too disjointed, Steve. That's the problem. Yeah, there's no unity. There's no unity. The thing is, the movement itself, the Patriot movement itself, is very united. It's only when you add politics into the mix does it become disjointed and not unified. Which you could say is politics itself a distraction? Is politics itself a way, a mechanism within which to stop people from uniting? Because without politics, we would be united as one force. We would. It's only the politics that's separating us into our different tribalistic groups. So is politics just another method of control? It's worth looking at and worth exploring, isn't it? Right, what's this then, Steve? Can we start by making the place uncomfortable? Cut benefits and removal of things like halal praying in the street. Yeah, definitely. You make it as impossible as ever to colonize the place that they're trying to colonize. You ban the hijab, you ban the burqa, you ban those things, get rid of those, ban them, ban halal meat. Integrate or F off. That's the message. That's the message that should be sent. Is Rupert Lowe a plan to start stopping the benefits of the unwelcome migrants? You've got to look at that realistically. Is that really going to come to fruition before in the next 4 years? How's Rupert Lowe going to get through Parliament? See, I like Rupert Lowe, but he's very naive when it comes to Parliament. You know, this Restore UK thing, you know, it's trying to be this cross-party mechanism. And the thing is, the system is broken. Westminster is broken. That's the issue. You can't fix the system by using the broken system. It has to be done from the outside, reduced to its foundation and rebuilt from the ground up. That's the only way we're going to initiate change. You can't do anything without getting rid of the permanent secretaries that are in government. You can't do anything without getting rid of the rebellious civil service. And that is something that's out of Rupert Lowe's control. So anything that he proposes in Parliament, anything that the Reform Party proposes in Parliament will just fall on deaf ears because they can just ignore it. They just won't implement it. They won't implement it from a government that's got a massive majority, like Boris Johnson's government did. Obviously, they're not going to care about Keir Starmer's government because he's one of them, isn't he? So, although on paper it's a great idea what Rupert Lowe's trying to do, at the end of the day, what he's doing is futile. You may as well just sign another petition because that's just about how much effect it will have. Hello, how does Rupert's Restore button is taking down a cul-de-sac. You need to achieve power both officially and unofficially. Yeah, you need a grassroots movement. You need that grassroots movement to have power in Parliament. That's what you need. And although I respect Rupert, whatever I agree with him 100% on everything that he says, he just doesn't have the grassroots. Well, he has the grassroots, but he just doesn't have the power in Parliament. Not at all. He missed a trick. He should have started his own party or joined Advanced and taken that over and built up a grassroots movement and built a party in Parliament, because he could have done something. He could have done something with that. Unfortunately, he's not interested. He's not interested in leadership. And that's somebody we don't need. We don't need people like that. We need leaders at this time. There's nothing wrong with being a farmer. It's just he's got no power in Parliament. That's the issue. He is leading you. How is he leading me? He's got no power in Parliament. See, I'd agree with you, but there is only one Donald Trump. We're not going to be saved by just one saviour. Rupert Lowe doesn't seem to be around anymore. No, I think he's kind of fizzling out a little bit, isn't he? What if Calamity Lammy's next? Right, so the next budget is going to be a total disaster. I think we all know that, don't we? It's going to hit everybody hard. It's going to hit all of us hard. I said this in the morning walk this morning, that budget is going to decimate small businesses. It's going to absolutely decimate them. She's going to bring in that paper mile thing for drivers. So anybody that's got a driving job has instantly got a new overhead they've got to deal with. So if you're just doing a pizza delivery, you know, for a few hours a week for a bit of extra cash, you've now got to fork out extra money from your overheads, petrol tax, and now you've got to fork out money for the paper mile shit that she's bringing in. She's run out of money. And they're raising council tax again. They're raising rents. So they're trying to drag in the revenue, and people just haven't got it. That's the point. Because what they did was, when they increased the national insurance payments for employers, what did employers do? They got rid of their workforce. They got rid of some of their workforce. They're just clueless. These people are just clueless. They've got no clue at all. Get rid of this now. We don't need that anymore now. Stop sharing that. They're clueless. They don't know what they're doing at all. And I think it's obvious now. It's like, with Keir Starmer, everything he does is deliberate. It's deliberate. And he's deliberately picked the most incompetent team for a cabinet he possibly can, because he knows it'll wreck the country. That's his job. That is Keir Starmer's job, is to run the country into the ground. And how would you do that? You pick the most incompetent people you can find and put them in positions of power where they can just mess up. That's how you destroy a country. And that's obviously what he's doing. He's just following orders from his World Economic Forum masters, the ones in Davos, where they're saying, run your country into the ground and cause civil unrest, have a civil war, and then we'll rise from the ashes and implement the Great Reset, the technocratic communism that we want to implement, the social credit system, the Chinese model, as they call it, the perfect Chinese model. That's what they want. That's why it looks like incompetence, but it's not. It's Keir Starmer absolutely managing the decline of the country. That's what he's doing. And you can't deny it. That's exactly what he's doing. Because there's nobody on the planet that could be that incompetent. Literally isn't. And what do? When they make a mistake, they double down on it. Why would you even do that? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Crazy. The pay for mile is because electric vehicles don't pay fuel tax. But I had to pay per mile on my car insurance a while ago, and the company went bust because they were, with digital tracking, the system went tits up. Right. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be absolute chaos. Really is. And obviously, it's just another attack on private car ownership as well, isn't it? Increase car tax, increase insurance, make it harder to own a car, that sort of thing. That's what they want to do. Any bike can take you 90 kilometers. Yep. Increase intelligence. Yeah, that's the only thing they won't increase, is intelligence. Okay. What's that? Hi, Vin. What about UKIP? Won't they throw them out? Right. So let's talk about UKIP. I know Danny Roscoe, he sings their praises. And you know what? If UKIP was in the same, they should be. By rights, UKIP should be in the position that Reform Party's in. You know, I wish to God it was UKIP that was polling really high and is most likely going to get more MPs in Parliament the next time around. But unfortunately, they're not. They're not. And Nick Tinconi himself has said that he's not even looking at the 2029 general election. He's looking at what? He said to 2034 before he's got any kind of viability to get into place of power. And I'm just quoting him. This is what he said himself. He says he's got to train up 650 candidates to be media savvy and ready to go. And that could take him years because he's having trouble finding them. So UKIP is most likely not going to be ready for the next general election. And let's face it, they haven't got a cat in hell's chance of winning the next general election because the right is so fractured. Everybody's going to be voting for all these individual little parties, and it's just going to split the vote. So you're looking at a toss-up between Advanced and Reform, who are also going to split the vote even further, which will most likely let in probably a Green Labour alliance, which would be a total disaster for the country. They should, Tom, they should. And Nick Tinconi's tried, David Catane has tried, of the Heritage Party. There are two leaders that have actually gone out and said, right, we're going to put ourselves before the party, and we're going to put a country first. That was Nick Tinconi and David Catane. Unfortunately, there are too many egos in the parties that are polling high to consider them. They won't join forces. They don't want to join forces. The thing is, at the next general election, every single vote is going to count for the right-wing parties because it's going to be close. It's going to be very close. That's assuming it's not a low turnout like it was the last time, because people are so disillusioned with the political system that they just think, you know what, sod it, we're staying at home. That could happen. We could potentially have the lowest turnout in history at the next general election. A lot of people are thinking, well, you know, people are that pissed off, they're going to go out and vote. Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't vote. Maybe they'll just stay at home and think, stuff it. We've had enough. Now, and also we've got to think about Starmer can cancel local elections. Will he, in 3.5 years, be so emboldened by his actions, just cancel the general election? Will he push for some kind of conflict? I mean, he's pushing for conflict with Russia at the minute. So you could think by the time of the next general election comes up, he decides to poke the bear and go to war with Russia and cancel the general election. Let's face it, it is possible. This is how this man would think. It's either that or he'll rig it. He'll rig the next general election like they did in 2016 with the American presidential election. They'll rig it. I'm not convinced Tinconi and Catane are operating without ego. What role would they take up, and what organisation? Well, I said this before. A good plan would be to form some kind of coalition. Right? They all get together. They all decide which party has got the best chance of getting into government. Then what you do is you say, right, we'll all stand down so long as you accept some of these manifesto pledges, and you have to implement them. And the thing is, if the party doesn't implement those manifesto promises, then the next time around, we know we can't trust them, don't we? We know we can't trust them. And so you vote for another party. That's what you do. I'm obviously talking about a political solution. I hate talking about party politics because it starts to get tribalistic. And to be honest with you, I see issues with all the parties. I really do. There's a lot of issues with them. The right wing of politics is deeply, deeply fractured. Deeply fractured. You know, you only have to mention one party. I've seen it on my video comments. I only have to mention one party in a good light, and immediately it's tribalistic. It's like, well, what about this party? What about that party? That's why I don't talk about party politics anymore. Because to me, it's just a distraction. It's just a distraction for everything that's going on in the country. We're talking about an event that's, 3.5 years away. Let's talk about that closer to the time. Maybe, a couple of months before the general election. At the minute, it's up in the air. Nobody should pay attention to any polls, really, this early in the game regarding the general election. It's usually probably a month or 2 weeks before the general election that you should take any notice of the opinion polls, if you'd even take notice of them at all. Because like I said in the last live stream, opinion polls don't reflect public opinion. They try to influence them. A lot of people don't look at the opinion polls. What they do is they look at the betting. They look at who's got the more favourable odds in the betting pool, in the betting shops, rather than looking at opinion polls, because they're more accurate than opinion polls. I'm going to form a group of 5 to 10 where I live. Same right types. Get yourself elected for the council and get the name recognition. That's a good idea. There's nothing wrong with that. That's probably a good idea. Don't rely on other parties. Don't rely on this party politics bullshit. Try and get yourselves elected to get to enact change. That's a good idea. Very good idea. That's him gone. So I'm just having a look at the chat. Sorry, guys, it's dead air. The government could stop the boats in a flash. It's all by design. Yeah, of course it is. How easy would it be? They're in control of the Navy. They could just simply put a battleship in the channel and turn the boats around. We're not a part of the EU. We won't get fined for not taking illegal immigrants in, or for ignoring the European Court of Human Rights. They all do it anyway when it's convenient. The EU itself ignores the European Court of Human Rights when it's convenient for them. So why can't we do it? It's because it's all by design. It's just an excuse. The European Court of Human Rights is just an excuse. We don't have to abide by what they say. Legally, we could leave it because we're not in the EU. We could just say, bye-bye, we're not following your rules anymore. True. No re-immigration. Yeah. I think it's just too of a hot topic. I think if you try it, they're going to kick off. There will be a civil war anyway, won't there? So I just want to point out, I've just kicked Adam K from the chat because that is our old friend Jack trolling. So he's not allowed in the chat. The worst thing to even happen to this country. Exactly, yeah. We don't have to follow it. We simply don't have to follow the European Court of Human Rights. Not at all. Right, let's have a look at some, see if there's anything on X that we can talk about. To be honest with you, I've not been posting that much lately. I've not been posting on X, but I've been looking at it now. Oh my God. Right, we've got to watch this. This is the new mayor of New York, right? It's not. How long has it been? Has it even been 24 hours since he's been elected? Right, let's listen to this. God, you know, we're talking about civil war over here, but it's looking close to civil war in America if things carry on. It really is. Right, let's go. Let's have a look at this. I don't normally do international politics, but it's worth noting because this is exactly what happened to London with Sadiq Khan, and he destroyed it. He destroyed London.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence of the highest degree. Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages.
So he's basically a communist. He's going to empty all the prisons. He's going to kick all the criminals out of prison. And no doubt he'll start doing what Keir Starmer's doing over here. He'll start arresting people for social media posts because obviously they're more of a threat. It's the same thing with communism. It's not the criminals they fear, it's the dissidents. It's the people who want revolution is what they fear the most. And how do you cope with them? You just throw out all the criminals on the street. You make the streets more dangerous. Don't you make society more dangerous to distract people, to keep people distracted from what you're doing in government? That's exactly what Keir Starmer is doing right now. He's turning out all the prisons to make the streets more dangerous for the people of this country because they're evil, disgusting human beings. Let's have a look. Right, the other thing is to promote is fixing this country is not going to be painless. There will be proper economic and social pain in the short term. Yeah, it's coming. We have to suffer to get ourselves out of this. Myself and Tom, we've been pushing the national shutdown. People aren't interested. The ironic thing is, and this is what we can't understand, people seem to be advocating more for civil unrest and civil war than they are for the peaceful solution. And this is prominent people within our movement that seem to be talking about civil war 24/7 now. There is a peaceful solution, and I've not seen any of the bigger channels mentioning this yet about the national shutdown, because that's a peaceful solution to the situation. And what I think is, right, let's not forget that the current situation for bigger channels is big business. So if a solution comes along and this current situation suddenly dissipates and goes away, no more money to be made from talking about the current situation. So there is that aspect to it. And that's something everybody has to take in consideration, that maybe some of these bigger channels aren't pushing solutions is because they don't want solutions. They want to keep the status quo. They want to keep the situation because they're making loads of money from YouTube revenue talking about it. We're trying to push a national shutdown to try and avert civil war, and yet you've got these channels talking about it non-stop. It's almost like they're wishing for it. And that is scary. It's all about distraction, deflection, gaslighting. We saw it during lockdown and the poison jabs. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yep. If migration is stopped, the Mr. is crippled. Yes. God save us. Yes. Violence is violence. Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously he's a lefty nutter, absolute lefty nutter. He's a socialist, he's a communist. So obviously he's going to spout the usual buzzword bullshit, isn't he? How is a national shutdown going to get all the immigrants out? It's not. It's going to get Starmer out, and then we can hopefully force a general election and get somebody in that will force the immigrants out. Because the alternative isn't pretty. And I've not been sugarcoating it. I've been trying to convince people that you don't want to go down that path. I've always thought Farage wants to be an outsider and has no interest in the responsibility of power. I think Farage likes being on the eve of power rather than being in power. He likes the thought of almost being prime minister, not actually being prime minister, and the responsibility of it. Because the run up to being prime minister is a wild ride, isn't it? He can ride on that wave of positivity, and then obviously when the time comes to man up and be the leader, he always seems to bug out, doesn't he? Unfortunately. I have my house and a job. I'll have lost my house and my job probably by then. Well, you'll definitely lose your house and your job if we continue on this path of civil war. You won't have a job. You won't have a house. It might just be a crater in the ground. Something for you to think about. Then if Starmer gets kicked out of number 10, what will happen next? Well, the thing is, we have to go. We have to make sure that we completely bring the Labour Party down. And then obviously when the other MPs in Parliament, this is an opportunity for other MPs to step in then and call for a vote of no confidence. Because they'll see what a mess the country is in and they'll have to take action. They will have to take action. They will have to force Starmer out. This is to force them to do the right thing. They should be doing it now. But this is to force them to do the right thing and remove him from power. Remove the Labour Party from power. Because it's a rogue government. It's doing nothing but harm to this country. And it doesn't care. It just keeps doubling down on its identity politics bullshit and its Marxist agenda. They're trying to wreck the country because they want to implement communism, socialism. That's what they want to do. Sorry guys, I'm having trouble reading this tonight. I've got blurry vision tonight. I don't know why. Reading the comments. I'm gonna have to get glasses. Right. Going by Keir Davos, etc. They're going to tax you so everyone loses everything anyway. Exactly. Digital ID too, if you don't comply. Exactly. What's that? £85 every time you have to prove who you are. No Labour. Well, this is why we have to force them out, Kenny. This is why we have to force them out of power. We have to give them no option. We have to collapse the government. Completely collapse the government and force them to call a general election. Then it won't matter about them voting for anything. They will just have to call a general election. They'll be forced to do it because the country would be in such a mess. And it would only take 7 days to do it. 7 days and the government is on its knees. And that's truth. And recent history, you've got to look at the fuel strike. It brought Tony Blair's government to its knees. So it can work if you're strategic and you think about it carefully and you use tactics about where you're going to shut things down. You can bring a government to its knees, literally, because we hold all the power. A lot of you guys have forgotten that. I understand what civil war could do, terrifying, but living in a Marxist Islamic state scares me as well. They're preparing to take the UK now. Exactly, which is why we have to act now. You're saying that we should wait around. I mean, I'm assuming this is what you're saying, that we should wait around for the elections. This country is not going to exist in 4.5 years. It won't exist. And trust me, the national shutdown is our last best hope of a peaceful way to achieve that. I'm not having a go at anybody. I know you're all angry. I am. You know, I'm just trying to offer up solutions to try and avoid violence and civil unrest, because that's the path we're on. And I want to try and get us off that path. I really do. I agree. But I think that in itself would kick off a civil war. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that when we do, be prepared, because they will kick off. I agree. Farage will drop out of the race before the election, or just after he wins, he will. What he'll do is he'll blame himself, because he is ill. He's not a well man. So I thought it was on then. I thought my radio mic was off then. Audio was okay, isn't it? Yeah, it's okay. He'll either pass it over to Tice, or he'll go for Zai Yusuf, won't he? There is two options. And I don't even want to think about that, to be honest with you. Lammy might be leader of the faction. Blob. Yeah. I like to call her Shazam Bad Mood. Yeah, Shazam Bad Mood, because it's easier to say. The Home Secretary, Shazam Bad Mood. Yeah, they're lining her up to be the next leader as well, aren't they? She's favouring that. They won't be in power. They won't be in power much longer. After this budget, they're going to wreck the country. The economy is going to collapse, and that's going to force them out of power anyway. I think after the budget, I mean, obviously all these things are going to be implemented next April. So I think that the Great British National Strike that's a protest group. But by the way, they're planning to do the shutdown in February for 7 days. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we've got to try it. I think it's got to be tried. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But at least we've tried it. I would rather them try it than not try it, and then find out somewhere down the path, because, you know, everything's blowing up around us because the civil war's kicked off, that we didn't try every option on the table when we had the opportunity. It might not work. I'm open and honest about that. It might not work, but we should at least try it. I'll be honest with you, I think after the budget, I think a lot of people are going to be pissed off anyway. So people might try it for the sake of, like, yeah, stuff this. Farage said yesterday expects a general election. I'd say it was sooner than that. Sooner than that. They're virtually out of money now. And I watched Lotus Eaters a few weeks back, and they were saying that the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, they're the people, we're members of that. They're the people that bail you out if you're in deep shit, economy-wise. They give you a bailout to get you out of the situation you're in. All the members are in the same situation that we're in. So if we do tank the economy, it looks like we won't even get a bailout. So our economies would be screwed. And because our economies are so closely tied to other countries' economies, you'll see a domino effect. Our economy will tank, then most of Europe's economies will tank as well, because it will just, like I said, be like flicking over dominoes. Oops, I've got to plug this in because my computer's going to go off. I forgot I haven't got it plugged in. There we go. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're okay now. Whoa, that was a close one. We need to put Bank of England on the knees too. Yeah. Advanced. Yeah, but then again, you got to think about what's going to happen. The whole right wing is fractured, Kelly. Whole right wing is fractured. You've got all these different fractions, all these different parties that people are going to vote for. It's going to split the vote. Look at Reform, how it was polling, and only got five MPs in Parliament. How do you think Advance is going to fare if it gets less votes than the Reform? They'll split the vote. They'll have a tiny amount of MPs in Parliament, and you'll see the Green Party and the Labour Party probably most likely forming a coalition, and that will be a disaster for the country. It's important that these little parties all start working together, or they disband and form one big party. They join together. They all join together and unify, because otherwise, all we're going to see is the vote split, and once again, the mainstream parties getting into power because people simply can't put their country before their ego. That's what it boils down to. If you look at all the little tiny parties, even Advanced and Reform, the manifestos are more or less identical. Their policies are identical. There's no difference in them. They could basically all merge together in one party, but they won't, because there are too many egos out there that all want to be the leader, and they're not thinking about this country. They may claim to be, but at the end of the day, they're politicians. They want to be the ones in power, and that's what's led us to this position in the first place. So a lot of these parties aren't the solution; they're actually the problem. This is why I've got no horse in the race with political parties, because until we get that unity, there's no point talking about it. There really isn't. Everybody can say the blue in the face that, oh, this party's the best one. This party's the best one. How? They've all got the same manifestos. So what makes them better than any other party? It's nothing, is it? It's just because there's a particular leader with a particular ego that people put on pedestals like rock stars. That's what they do. They put these leaders on pedestals like rock stars, and they treat them like celebrities, which they shouldn't be doing. They should treat them like utility companies. You only vote for the person or the party that gives you the policies that you want. That's my opinion on things. So look at some. I'm just reading the comments. As to the economy, if you think the UK is in trouble, you should look at France, Belgium, and Germany. Only Netherlands is a reasonable position, and they can't bail out anyone. Yeah, the bailout isn't coming. Definitely not. Yeah, they need to start uniting together. Definitely, I agree with that, Steve. You're right about egos. So how will a national strike fix it? The MPs we have will just be replaced by more MPs on an ego trip. Well, exactly. You know, I agree with you. Look, I'll admit a national strike probably, won't work. It probably will not work. But we have to try everything. Because what are you advocating for? What's your solution to this? Mans, what's your solution to this? Civil war, civil unrest? If you're putting all your eggs in one basket, they do, Tom. Totally agree. It's those egos that are getting in the way. The regime is hanging in there. It's unbelievable. But if this was any other era, they would have been gone by now, because they simply don't have an opposition party to challenge them, because the opposition party itself is weak. There's nobody in Parliament to challenge them. In fact, I would say this Parliament is worse than when Theresa May was Prime Minister and we had the zombie Parliament that couldn't get anything done. This is just as bad. Now we've got Starmer in charge and his Marxist nut jobs that are just going around doing whatever they like because there's just no opposition to them. I was saying this to Tom today. How many times has Starmer overridden Parliament or just not included Parliament and just done what he wanted to do and not gone through parliamentary process and had a debate about what he wants to do? Yeah, it is, Steve. They're trying to crush all the West, Germany, France, etc. will be ghetto war zones now. Exactly. I can't say what I think, laugh out loud. Not a civil war or religious either. JFK springs to mind. Yeah, but how are you going to have a peaceful revolution? How do you have a peaceful revolution if the government won't listen to you? I think that's what you talk about, isn't it? You know, if peaceful revolution is made impossible, then violent revolution becomes inevitable. I think that's the quote that you're talking about. But violent revolution, I was talking about this in my morning walk this morning. So just imagine that we do have a civil war in this country, and what about if we lose? Tom brought this up as well. What about if people just decide not to fight and just capitulate and the Islamists take over? It's not beyond the realm of imagination, that, is it? We all assume that if a civil war kicks off, it'll wake everybody up and everybody will start fighting. They won't. What usually happens when war breaks out? People flee the war zone. There will be a mass exodus of people leaving the country. They become refugees themselves, most likely taken in by America. They'd be gone. So then you've got great, vast swaths of the country left uninhabited. This civil war will not go the way people think. I mean, the same thing happened in Yugoslavia. You had great swaths of the countryside, just all the farms abandoned because war broke out. People fled their lands they've been farming for years. They just left them. They were gone. So, like I said, this romantic view people have of revolution and civil war, it's not romantic. It really isn't. Exactly, it's unpredictable. Nobody knows what's going to happen. That's the thing about civil wars. They're unpredictable because it's not necessarily two professional armies fighting against each other. It's civilians fighting against that form militias that aren't trained. So it's chaos. There's no chain of command. It's probably, gangs of people going around the countryside, violent gangs, acting like raiders, marauders, even. Because they might not even be fighting over a cause or politics. It will become about resources. Because if the supply chain breaks down and the supermarket stops getting stocked with food, the electricity goes off, the heating goes off, it then becomes a war about resources. Water, food, doesn't it? So then everybody's a target. Not just the political factions, everybody becomes a target. So you'll have people fighting against people for food, and then you'll have the different groups fighting those people for resources as well. Because an army marches on its stomach, doesn't it? Exactly, it's survival at that point. That's what a lot of people aren't thinking about. They think that civil war's going to be happening, your TV's still going to be on, your electricity's still going to be on. The first thing that will happen in civil war, most likely, is it'll be infrastructure that's attacked first. They'll attack power stations, they'll attack pylons, they'll attack vital communication lines. That's how war works. Thank you, Steve. I watched that, by the way. Go watch the Channel 4 2010 drama Blackout and then multiply it by 10. Yeah. Taking a sick day, withholding our retail spending on one day every now and then is worth a go. I think this concerns the establishment. It could well work. But if you think about it, if you took a sickie for a week, you could bring the government to its knees quite easily. And it wouldn't have to be everybody. They could basically do exactly what they did to Tony Blair with the fuel strike. Eventually, he had to capitulate, he had to give in. So that's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it? General election called if serious unrest, such as national strike. 6th general election likely in late 2026 or early 2027. Yeah. The thing is, though, you've got to think, if a civil war breaks out, then, yeah, elections will be cancelled because a national emergency will be declared. There won't be any elections. So a civil war won't force a general election. It will stop a general election, which is probably why Starmer's doing all this. He probably most likely wants a civil war so he can cancel elections. Just think, if civil war broke out tomorrow, he could cancel the May elections. He could cancel the general election and say, until this war is finished. And it could go on for decades. A civil war could go on for decades. Because what people don't realise is, yeah, one side might win, but it might not be the side that you want in power. So eventually what happens again? Right, we've got to have a civil war to get them out of power because they're no good. It could be an endless cycle of violence and conflict. Look at the Middle East. The Middle East is a prime example of that. Constant unrest. It's unstable. That could be this country. That could be Europe soon. Constantly in a state of conflict. Only the US had elections during wartime, yeah. The way some channels have heavily slated the strike idea tells me some of those channels are operating as controlled opposition for the state. Maybe not controlled opposition for the state. They're just profiting from the current situation. Because if you look at certain channels, it's just, me and Tom, again, we're talking about this. It's like watching a circular TV program. They just keep regurgitating the same stuff over and over again, talking about stuff. They don't talk about a national strike as a solution because, as I said earlier in this live stream, maybe they don't want a solution because a solution would end the gravy train for them. This crisis, this current situation in the country is giving them lots of content to talk about, isn't it? It is. So maybe they don't want a solution. That's why they're not pushing for a national shutdown, because it would end their content and their revenue. It's just something worth to bear in mind about some channels. The Islamists want that regardless. Look at what happened at Whitechapel and what they are capable of. Yeah, I think some areas are lost. Some areas are lost. We're never getting them back. We are never getting some areas back. Places like Bradford, Leicestershire, Birmingham, all places like that, London. We're not getting them back. We're not getting them back through legitimate means. You will not get them back through voting for a particular party. They are lost. I think we all know the only way to get those places back. Yes, long-term unrest The last civil war went from 1637 to 1639 till 1653, and almost happened again in 1660 and 1685 and 1688. It was only when the Dutch stopped it. Yes. Yeah, and Leeds. Sorry, Craig. Yeah, and Leeds. Yeah, it won't be. It might not even be us that start it. They again, me and Tom were talking about this earlier. How do we know that for months they haven't been planning? They're not planning right now what they're going to do. They're planning to take over. We don't know, do we? I mean, a lot of people say, a lot of these experts are saying civil war doesn't happen overnight. Well, it does if they plan for it. If that night they suddenly decide, yep, that's it, we've been planning for X amount of months, it's go time. We don't know what goes on in some of these extremist mosques where they have extremist preachers. Look at that instance where we had the summer riots last year, and we had that Muslim police liaison officer telling that gang of masked up, armed Muslims to take their weapons back to the mosque so they didn't get arrested. How do we don't know that that happens in every single mosque? We don't, do we? Yep. 2,000 mosques in the UK. What they're doing exactly. I can only talk about my experience in Iraq. Now take this. This is a completely different situation, right? Because Iraq was a war zone, but we knew that some mosques were operating as intelligence gathering centres, and intelligence gathering centres for insurgents. We knew it was an intelligence network, the mosques. So it's not unreasonable to think that that could be happening in this country, that they're all interlinked, they're all connected together to form a network of intelligence around the country. Be quite easy to do. Be very easy to do. I think civil war is already here. Some people are saying that. Let's have a look and see if there's anything else on Twitter, because I'll drop the link in the chat. Anybody wants to come in and have a chat, you can do. Let's have a look. Am I on? I don't know if I'm actually on. Am I on? No, I'm not on bookmarks. Right, we'll click on that. We'll get my bookmarks in a minute. Why do they always do this? I'm guessing not everybody's watching this, right? Why do the lefties always do this? They will say, so the UK train attack hero, not the suspect, is a migrant born abroad. He's a Muslim. The racists on here will be gutted. So because one Muslim on board a train saved lives, that now just wipes out all the Islamist terrorist attacks in the country, and all, basically all that, 40,000 plus on the MI5 watch list does it. These people are morons. They're idiots, aren't they? Absolute morons. Race baiting fucking idiots. These people are. They really are. Absolutely moronic. They think one incident wipes out all that other stuff. It wipes out all the rape gangs, wipes out all the terrorist attacks. So, hold everything up, guys, right? We've got to stop calling out Islam because this one particular Muslim on this train acted like a rational human being and helped people. So that now dismisses all the terrorism. It dismisses all the terrorist attacks, all the rape gang things, all the sexual assaults that are taking place of people that just happen to be Muslims. Kevin Maguire is an absolute muppet. He really is. He's a dickhead. Birmingham, Bradford, etc. are just Islamic fortresses at this point in my country. Fallen out with mum, sisters, cousins, and liberals. Yeah, same with me. just the labelling they do, flag shaggers, gammon, anti-vax, phobe, etc. How they conflate or deflect consistently, etc. Yeah, exactly. It's all buzzwords. It's all meaningless. It's all meaningless now, isn't it? I've not posted it yet, Tom. I'm just having a look at some of these things on here. I'm going to post it in a minute, mate. What the hell's this? What the hell is this? This is not AI. Wait until you see who's behind it. Oh God. Right. Yeah. Let's have a look at this. We're going to play this. I can't play that because it's copyrighted music, but we can have a look to see who's behind her. Who is behind her? Oh God, it's the leader of the Green Party. This is the rational. This is the people who claim the adults are back in the room. This muppet. Look at the state of him. I'm surprised. You know what? He's one of these sort of people that would be quite happy with Ed Davis on International Hobby Horse show jumping, wouldn't he? They're all clowns. They're all absolute clowns. You know? Jesus. Evening, Lulu. How you doing? %98 of deaths are caused by terrorism in the UK in the last 25 years has been Islam related. Yeah, we all know that. They're just idiots. Yeah, that's what we've got. So can you imagine I've got such a dry throat today. So this is who Keir Starmer would most likely team up with, is this guy, this maniac. Be a great team if it was like three of them, wouldn't it? Keir Starmer, this moron, and Ed Davis of the Liberal Democrats. What a winning team that would be. You know, that'd be the Avengers, wouldn't it? That'd be the Avengers of Great Britain. It'd be a dumpster fire, wouldn't it? It'd be an absolute dumpster fire of a government. it would collapse. There's no way in hell that would last. He's some mutated goblin. He doesn't even look normal. I know he's insane. Right, I'm going to post the link and we'll see if anybody wants to come in. I'm not going to be on long. How long I've been on for? An hour and 17 minutes. Invite guest. Right, here we go. Right, I'm going to post a link. Anybody wants to come in, you can do. The link is now in the chat for anybody that wants to come in. Vin, where is the lunatic asylum they've all escaped from? It's all the villagers. All the villagers have lost their idiots. That's what I said about them down at the Stand Up to Racism protest we had outside the Sandpiper Hotel. It's like all the idiots have joined us from the villagers. Right, I'll add you in a minute, Tom. I'm just going to look through some of the chat, then I'll add you, mate. All right. Ever since my dad passed away, the women have gone nuts. No offense, ladies. Usually the case. Sorry to hear that, mate. I can't. I'm going to break. Only got 5 more minutes. Yeah, that's fine, mate. That's totally fine. Right, Tom, let's bring you in, mate. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, mate. How you doing? Sorry, no camera today.
It's okay. We know why.
Yeah, it's all good. I was just listening. It's interesting when I haven't laid down and listened to a podcast before, but I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you reading out the comments and stuff like that. And I don't want anything I've got to sound passive aggressive. I hear people talking about egos, and I get it. I've said the same thing myself. But the one thing to understand when we say that is we've all got a fucking ego, and I can prove it, and I can prove it right now. And that is the fact that I think the most likely outcome for this country is capitulation, and there's nobody that will agree with me because that spikes the ego just too much. But as I'm listening to you, a little clock's going in my head, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. I'm listening to you talking, and I'm thinking about the things that we've been talking about and all the things I've been reading. And just, we think about, we're in the shit here, right? We're in a mess. If you pull out from that picture and you zoom out of that map a little bit and you look down from above, you start to get this idea that there's actually a perfect machine in place and a perfect plan in place. And actually, everything's not a mess at all. It's exactly a design. It's exactly perfect. And it's going exactly perfect for them. And so the idea that there'd be no capitulation, but if I try and make that into a metaphorical image for everybody, what I got in my head is a boa constrictor slowly going around its prey, and it's already there. It's just got to squeeze.
I
And
will say
so,
this, right? Right.
yeah,
So the globalists have got a plan. We know that Keir Starmer's basically running the decline of the country. There's no doubts about that whatsoever. That's what he's doing. And what he's done is he's picked the most incompetent cabinet he could find because he knows they'll be shit at their jobs and they'll just destroy the country. That's what he's done it for. That's
yeah.
exactly why he's done it.
And I think the reason the shutdown might be, and again, I think it's right to say that it might not work. But I think the reason the shutdown is reasonable cause is because it's not just about shutting down, the government. I mean, that's the end goal. But you want to put people. I mean, if you listen to that Liz Truss, who actually made sense for once in her life, if you listen to her, the government itself is bound by people like the Bank of England. That those are the people who also need to get on their knees, and that's what a national shutdown would do. It would get all of those bastards on their knees exactly where they need to be, fearing the people again. And that's what it unfortunately comes down to, is fear, something they've not felt in a long time.
I'll say this, right, because you were saying that it's by design, it's a plan to cause civil war and civil unrest so they can implement their agenda. I will say this: they've got a plan right up until civil war starts, because once civil war starts, it just becomes unpredictable. That they can't predict what will happen, and it will bite them in the arse. It will bite them in the arse.
But this is my point of contention, Ben. I think that there's a high risk, and I'm going to call it risk because that's the only way I think I'm going to get anybody to listen. I think there's a high risk of the boa constrictor having the effect that capitulation is. And if I say the word capitulation, it sounds so strong. So if I was to say the brainwashing will continue, people will continue to grumble and moan, and some will fight. I know that. But I just don't. There's never a day when people say, right, we're under the caliphate now. I mean, it comes in time. But until certain things are said, people aren't going to believe it.
Right. So say the country capitulates, because I agree with you, that's a very much likely outcome. But I'll tell you who won't capitulate, and that will be the Islamists. And this is where they're going to have the issue, because Starmer's going to think, oh, we can implement our agenda now, and then the Islamists will take it away from him. They'll just have a war with him, and he won't know what hit him. He won't know what hit him.
That I could see. Yeah, that I could see. But the question is, why are they bringing them in the first place? They know that they're going to want to try and destroy them. They can't be that stupid.
I'll tell you why. Because they think they can control them, and they can't. They can't control them. Look at what happened when we tried to control Al Qaeda against the Russians. Eventually, they turned against us. They started bombing our countries, and that's exactly what is going to happen with these lot. Don't forget, the majority of these people have been kicked out of their own countries because they're extremists. The Muslim.
Why?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben. Put my conspiracy head on now. Why have I got a picture of George Bush all that time ago in my head, which I watched live, and declaring war on the world, and then instead of that happening, all this time later, there's actually been a crusade on all of the Western countries.
Exactly. They turned on them. They armed them, and then they turned on them.
And here we are.
Don't forget, Bin Laden was highly educated. Thank you, Nick H. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
It feels so organized. It's unreal. And we've been sleeping. I mean, I know people have been standing up and trying to say things, but they didn't really have the full shape of the plan, did they?
No.
But
And like I said earlier in the live stream, the time to actually start pushing back against this is when they started demanding special treatment for their religion.
Yeah,
That's when you can be pushing
absolutely.
back.
I'll
It's
be
too
honest
late
with
now.
you. I'll be honest with you. When they started talking about putting mosques up in this country, that would have been a problem to me. You know, it just like nah. But I think what you said, that also made me think when you said about all the places we won't ever get back, and I thought that's absolutely true. And I actually think that again, that won't be taken by force. Let's not overly kid ourselves about them. And I'm just being honest about the mood of the average person in the country. The people I speak to, all they give a shit about, because they're in the daily grind, is getting home for the kids, doing what they got to do, going to work the next day, going around, watching very basic news sources. Some people don't even have social media still. They refuse to use it. I mean, there's so many people out of this bubble that we're in. We don't really know how big the bubble we're in is. The movement's not that big. It's probably about 250,000 people, but outside of that, it's bigger. But we don't really know how big we are, do we?
Well, I touched upon it this morning. We've been talking about it. We've talked about it in great deal about saying that the social media is not reality. This isn't reality. You know, we
Yeah,
think, there's millions of us on social media.
when
There isn't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And when you say that out loud, that's not a condescending thing. It's like stop and think for a minute before you go. Yeah, we know that. It's like no, stop and think a minute. How much time do you spend on then? How much do you believe? And how much do you go outside and look in the streets? And how much do you actually bother to do that compared to how much you actually believe on social media? And one of the first reasons why I started Zero News was to go out and see things for myself instead of having someone tell me. And
Yeah,
that
exactly.
opened my eyes to what was really going on. And if I hadn't have done that, I would never have believed it for anybody else's lens.
Well, that's one of the reasons I came down to Southampton as well. Not only to like protest, but to see another area and how it operates rather than just my area, and see how
Yeah,
and compare them both. You know, and it's like, well, it's similar. It's very,
it's a
very
good thing
similar.
to
It's the
do.
same. The similarities between Southampton and Chesterfield, because they're both leftist towns, and both towns have never really had it in them to come out and protest against the status quo in the towns, and that's
Yeah,
starting to change.
yeah.
So
It's yeah, and with Southampton, I mean, it's changed quickly, but it's had to adapt. And that's the only thing I will say about it, because I maybe sound like I'm running people down, and I'm really not. It's just where we are right at the moment. That doesn't mean things can't change. Nothing's fixed. But where we are right now, I'm very cynical about in terms of the average person. But not that I think they're weak, not that I think they're anything like that. I think I don't want. The trouble is, you say stuff like this on the internet, and it sounds like Matrix. And I hate those quotes, but don't know other way to say it. But people are still living in a dream world,
yeah,
and they've gone from saying I'm not paying my BBC license to you have been pointing out to me, and I've been trying to tell people myself about the amount of right wing propaganda online.
oh yeah. But we'll actually get into some of that in a minute. Actually, that's a good point because I forgot about that. A good analogy, though, Tom, is right to all the normies out there that sticking their heads in the sand is they'll be painting the garden fence as a tank plows through it. That's the
That's
sort of
it.
mentality we've got in this country.
That's what I see. Honestly, in my head, all right, maybe that's extreme, but in my head, that is exactly what I see. People being dragged out their houses without even putting up a fight. I see that. That's what worries me about all this. That's why I'm being as harsh as I am about things, because I want people not to have to go through that.
I've had them commented on my video today. People saying we live in predominantly white areas. We don't know what you're talking about. We've never heard about all this knife crime, and that's because they're spoon fed by the mainstream media that everything's okay, everything's fine.
Exactly.
They're plugged in,
That's right.
coin a phrase, and I know you hate this, but they're still plugged into the matrix. They don't know
Yeah,
anything outside that bubble.
absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
But I've had them on my channel today. It's like we'd never realised it was this bad. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad out there. And
But that's not a bad, that's not a bad thing, because they may just pursue it now, you know?
And the thing is, mate, all they had to do was walk down probably the local street and have their eyes open, because it would be out there. They're just not seeing it.
It's the grind, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the grind. I think that's what it is. It's a grind, and a lot of people don't get to see it. And you mentioned something about the fact that we tend to demonstrate weekends and stuff like that. I think that also says something about I don't know. I just don't think it's really sunk into the public consciousness enough. I mean, a lot of people know this ain't wrong. It's not. I'm not calling people stupid. There's a lot of people know this ain't wrong.
You
But
know,
that's different from. Sorry.
you know what a better analogy would be rather than the Matrix. It will be They Live. We've put the sunglasses on, mate, and we can
Yeah,
see how it
yeah,
really is.
that's a good one. Yeah, I love that film. Yeah, come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass and all that bubble
Yeah.
gum.
It's an awesome film. Very, very,
Oh, I
very,
love films
very
like that.
on point with today's society, really, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Obey, obey.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I do, like I say, I do worry that and this is not taking a shot at any individual creator, but I do worry that people have gone from one kind of dream to another by coming on. It's like this has been a blessing and a curse having the internet. Blessing because we can get the real news out. Curse because it's still a screen and it's still a show in some ways. Because
Yeah.
people come on for drama, for entertainment, unfortunately. I mean, they've told me that on my channel over the years, if I talk about something that's too normal or too real, it's too much. They say I come here for entertainment. They say it out loud. So it's not a revelation for me to say that, you know?
This is true. Some do like sheesh. The average person, I'd say 8 to 10 people I knew rolled up for that jab, just as what's going on now. Exactly. They believed everything they were told on the mainstream media, and they all queued up for hours to get a jab that was basically shite and wouldn't protect them anyway.
Right. So are we now open to the idea that perhaps people in this country could be coerced and pushed into all this?
It was a test, Tom. It was a test. It was a test to
That's
see
what
if they were.
everybody said at the time. They said it was a test for something.
I mean, look at the ludicrous rules. They were deliberately ludicrous to see if people would challenge them.
They
They
were.
wanted. They were, weren't they? I mean, how mental does it sound now? How mental does it sound now?
Lunacy.
How mental does this sound now? Now it's over and done with. That you can go in a restaurant and have a mask on, but when you sit down, you can take it off because somehow now the virus mysteriously won't infect you. It didn't make any sense. It never made any sense. None of it.
Mate, it was absolute lunacy. And the thing of it is, right, you would have thought the way they were carrying on, if you walked out your door, you would have seen zombies walking down the street blowing infections everywhere, the way they were portraying it. And the funny thing is, the footage of the hospitals that people got that were empty, I tried to upload some, and it was footage from someone I knew who'd actually shot it that day. So I knew it was real. And I put it up and it was down within minutes. And I got warnings and everything just for trying. I didn't even name it.
The big clue that what you're going through is a psyop is the fact that half the staff for controlling the epidemic are behavioral scientists. That's a pretty good indication that what you're being told is absolute bullshit.
The World Health Organization is worth. Is it? Well, I think it's the World Health Organization. They were worth listening to during COVID because they were telling the truth more than they were lying. They said we didn't think Britain would put up with this. We thought only places like China and that would put up with this kind of treatment, but we didn't realize Britain would.
Yeah,
And
look at the mask, right? Look at the mask. They said, "Oh, it's a deadly disease. You know, stay home, stay safe." And then they're like allowing masks to blow around the streets, mate.
Yeah, and that is still in some people's heads today. You're still seeing the mask wearers today, to this day.
Oh yeah. When I was at the train station coming back from Southampton, there was one guy and he was putting an N95 mask on.
Yeah,
it's like, what are you doing, mate? And he looked a weirdo anyway. He looked a proper lefty.
But that's how they've got in people. But that's how they've got in people's heads. And so there's so many things being done to us at the moment, and again, you know, and this is why I would encourage people, by all means, enjoy the drama, the movement, everything else. But if you're being serious about all this, the other side of it is to, like, these local groups. Oh, can I just say this as well, just very quick, then? Any women out there listening, and I know that channels like this have less women than men. That's generally true on YouTube anyway. But if there's any women or any even men who are frightened and alone, I just want you to know that I've spoken to other people like that, a lot of them recently, some in tears, terrified. And all I have done is told them to look on Facebook, to just go and have a look around, look on certain groups, see if they can find like a Patriot group, which sounds a bit corny, I know, or something like that near you. And I've sent people a couple, and just a couple of days later, they got so much support and so much help that they are actually joining these groups, and they sound like different people just because they don't feel alone anymore. And I just want to let people know there's groups right down the road from you. You're just not aware they're there because I've never probably looked.
It's good advice. Tom's been trying to get that message out for ages, haven't you, mate? And people
I
just
am,
aren't
yeah.
responding to it, and it's like, why not? Because it's a good
I've
message.
I would never say names with this, but I've contacted some, you know, a much larger influencer than me to try and get the message out, and I hope they listen. They know me, so
Hopefully they'll listen and get the message out and start helping people. Yeah, obviously people are listing all the insanities of the COVID. So yeah, that Thursday night clap at the sky day.
oh yeah, oh god, you're bringing back great memories now. Jesus Christ, that went the sour very quick, didn't it?
Yeah, everybody's outside with the torches, shining the torches in the sky. It's like, what the fuck
Yeah,
are you doing?
that was insane. God, I was
I
that
went
was
out. I went
but
out. It's like, what you banging your pots for, you maniacs? Because I was on the street at the time. You know what I'm like. I went out and said, what are you banging your pots for? Absolute clown.
I think most people agree now. Through, I'm talking about through scientists agree that the lockdown was more dangerous than anything else to people's minds. And again, with the greater plan, TikTok, you got to wonder if people say it's a test. Maybe it also was a way of putting people through trauma, because a lot of people cannot sit indoors. It would have been traumatizing for them, absolutely traumatizing.
If you think about it, even the pot banging was like behavioral engineering. It's
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, it all was.
Pot waving, mask wearing, became tribal.
Yeah.
Became tribal and that's something to understand. It became tribal very quickly. That's how quickly we get tribal.
And let's remember the most important debates we had in Parliament was a Scotch egg a substantial meal in Parliament?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? A fucking Scotch egg, mate.
And deciding what was worthy of a person leaving the house and what wasn't, and it coming down to ridiculous things. You know, it was nuts.
I was pointing out to people, right, that viruses are actually carried on your hands, and everybody was touching the produce in the supermarkets. It's like, why aren't they shutting this down? If this was a real pandemic, you would be under house arrest in your house, and they would be coming around with the army giving you ration packs.
That's actually what it was like in Tenerife. If they went out of the house, they were in deep shit. I mean, deep trouble. Nobody was breaking lockdown over there. I don't know in other countries, but I know from that place it was proper locked down.
Right. I saw some World Health Organization doctors, and they were off. But this is when I was out in Iraq. They were going across to Africa because there was an outbreak of Ebola, and the equipment they were taking with them, mate, because it was a contagious disease and it was deadly. I mean, I'm not saying obviously it wasn't as deadly as COVID wasn't as deadly as Ebola, but this is the sort of equipment you would expect to see on the streets if they were trying to control a pandemic, a supposed deadly pandemic. Full hazmat suits, mate. Full hazmat
Do you know
suits.
What? I remember there was two weird things that I remember about the beginning of the pandemic, right? And one of them was, there was and nobody's going to believe me, I know this, but on what was it called? Now TV. I had like a free trial on Now TV.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd take it. And it had dated 2019, and it had this was back at the time, on date, and it had a thing about the COVID pandemic before it happened, and that was on Now TV. I don't know if it's still on there, but it was even dated before it happened.
I remember
And
it. It was
you
it
do
like,
remember it?
yeah, it was like, it was a movie, weren't it? It was actually COVID, didn't it? It was COVID, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was COVID. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And
They were under quarantine, and they were like making out it was the most deadliest thing that ever existed.
yeah,
Um,
and so that was weird because that came out before COVID.
yeah, uh,
And
there was. Do you
sorry, go
remember
on.
the story? Do you remember the story at the time? The guy that actually wrote the book about a pandemic, and it was called COVID-19 in the book, and
Right.
it looked like they actually lifted it from the book.
Well, that's and here's the other thing. If there was a real COVID, right? There was a scientist right at the very, very beginning who said exactly how many people it would sort of infect, and he said it's sort of virus that won't spread from person to person to person to person. 1 in 5 might get it. He said it right from the very beginning, and then suddenly they just went off on a tangent with it, and yet he was right.
Right, we've got this here. Right, let's just address this. Right, what about the 20 million dead from it worldwide? Also, what is right? So, okay, then, you mean the flu? You mean the global flu pandemic that we have every year that people die? There's at least 20 million people that die from that every single year. And let's not forget, right? The flu virus completely disappeared mysteriously while the COVID so-called pandemic was going on.
They even dared.
Little bit suspicious. That isn't
They
it?
even dared to say flu had gone.
Yeah. Steve's got it right here. Steve on cue. It's called seasonal flu. Yeah, exactly, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big media circus. I mean, I interviewed people in a place very close to me that you've been, and that's the closest up to home I've ever interviewed people. And I went further out, and it's all on my backlog of videos. It's not like I can't prove it. And there was a few people telling me that they'd lost people, and they said that the doctor said it was COVID, and they said that it wasn't, and they were sort of saying they didn't have any of those symptoms. That some people just fallen down dead, heart attack, and they were saying COVID, and these people were saying that. I don't know what's going on.
The thing is, mate, right? The factual thing is they were shutting down immunologists and virologists who were saying, why are you wearing masks? You're lowering your immune system because this is going to make it worse. That this is why people were dying from the flu, is because they were wearing masks, because they weren't changing the mask. All that bacteria that you're putting into that mask is now going back down into your lungs and is causing infections.
The other thing is,
this is why, during the Spanish flu, they stopped people wearing masks, because they found out then that the people wearing the mask constantly were actually lowering their immune system and they're more susceptible to the virus. That's why they stopped doing it.
And the thing is, as well, is like, I don't know about COVID, but I'm pretty sure the masks that people were wearing would have let an illness like that straight through.
It's about, right, let's have a look. Is on again, right? So the flu was still going on. That's 20 plus million, not including also. No, it wasn't. There wasn't any extra death.
They cancelled the flu.
Yeah, flu was cancelled. The extra deaths came afterwards because maybe it was the vaccine. Maybe it's the vaccine. That's why we had excess deaths after it. Yeah, because let's face it, the pharmaceutical companies weren't exactly being honest with how effective and safe these vaccines were they?
Is this person aware that Pfizer and other companies are being taken to court now for the ineffectiveness of their vaccine? And there are other people it's going to take years.
Oh my God, this explains everything. Right, so I ran a track and trace call centre, mate. Your alt facts are silly. No, your facts are silly. What about the Nightingale hospitals that were made empty all the way through the pandemic? You know, the super hospitals that never got used once, and why the hospitals were empty.
Hit us with your facts, mate. Hit us with your facts. Blow us over.
Yeah, blow us with your facts. Bring those facts out. Yeah, just saying you've got facts and calling ours silly doesn't make it doesn't strengthen your case at all.
Yeah,
Makes you look moron.
you can't wish it that way. You got to debate it that way.
Yeah. Let's not forget, right? Let's look at the stats, right? Do you remember that person that was shot, and because they had COVID, they blamed COVID? You know, you could, you know, oh yeah. Do you remember that one?
There's so many cases like it though, and people don't. What? How have you forgotten, people? I know most of you haven't, but come on, how could anybody forget the lunacy that went on? I know there was a lot of fake stories, but there was a hell of a lot of real ones too.
What about the car? What about the car accidents? Died with COVID. They worded it right. They said died with COVID, not of COVID.
Yeah,
died with it.
And also, just remember the people that kept away from their loved ones and that. People in old age homes, people who died during that, and it wasn't what they said it was going to be. They had
right, Tom, listen to this. This is amazing. Right. We had folk die on the phone. My grandpa died from it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't believe you for 1 second. We had
you just personalise that to try and do a guilt trip.
Yeah, bollocks. Calling bollocks on that one. What is a novel virus? What is a novel virus? You explain to us what is one.
So he just told us what he does for a job, but now he's a virologist. This should be good.
Yeah, he's a virologist now. He's an expert in viruses as well.
You realise that on Google now, don't you? It's going to take a little while to copy and paste, yeah?
You know who this could be, don't you, Tom?
Oh, I do.
You know it could be.
Ask about its parents.
Yeah. Don't, and then forget, and then answer as the person you're supposed to be.
Ask him if he lives with his mum and dad.
Yeah, I don't live with mum and dad anymore because the person says I don't live with my mum and dad anymore. Who could it be, Englishman? Oh, we're getting a bit racist now, are we?
We have the butt of the problem. So what are you if you're not an Englishman then?
Yeah, what are you? Are you pretending not to be an Englishman by any chance? Trying to throw us off the track a little bit. It's like when this particular person made a comment the other day saying that it wasn't him that was in the chat. And it's like, well, how would you know who was in the chat because you blocked?
Just tell me, honestly, to this person, just tell me one thing. I just want to know one thing. Do you live with your mum and dad? Honest question. I'm not laughing.
Scottish mate, up Glasgow. Yeah, I know, Tom. I'm waiting for him to come back. I'm waiting for him to come back with some kind of bullshit statement. But yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I'll drop the link in the chat. If you want to come and chat in live, you can do. Yeah, then you can prove it to us. You can prove.
Come in down. You're really Scottish.
Yeah.
A bit of Scottish live chat.
Yeah, a little bit of Scottish. Yeah.
Or not? No, it takes a little while.
No, it's convenient that you don't have a mic. If you've got a phone, you've got a mic.
Yeah, I'm only on my phone now. Nothing plugged in, no special software, nothing. You click on the link, you go. It's that easy.
Yeah, if you've got a phone, you've got
click on the link.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Glaswegian, you mad ball bag. Yeah, I think we all know who you are. At this point now, I don't have to take you seriously at all because you've just blown your cover that you're a troll. Completely blown your cover. You know, coming in the chat, trying to troll it, trying to take it over like you people do. Yeah. No, on my PC at work, matey. Yeah, okay. Whatever.
How did where all these very convenient things going on in a row?
You don't have a phone on you then? You don't have a phone at all? You're probably the only person.
The only person in Britain without a mobile.
Oh, here we go. Look, says Mr. 43 watching. You'll be watched by a hell of a lot more people because a lot more people actually watch the live streams after we're done.
How many people you got, mate? I'll tell you how many already. I don't need to ask. 0. And I'll tell you how many channels you got. 0. And I'll tell you how much social media presence you got. 0. That's why you're trolling somebody else's channel. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. If you got your own platform, you'd be there spouting all this rubbish, wouldn't you?
But you can't do it yourself, so you have to come here to be heard.
Right, so the link's in the chat. You can come if you want to. I'll drop it again.
It's not fair us two teaming up on you like this. It's much better you come in and speak. I'll shut the fuck up. Sorry for my language, but
yeah, we'll give you the floor. The floor is yours. And I'm not buying the bullshit for 1 second that you're at work on your PC. That's horseshit.
I'll even leave. It's not a problem.
He's a regime bootlicker. Yeah, what happened? What happened to the rebellious nature of the Scottish? Anyway, I know some Scottish are rebellious. I'm half Scottish, by the way. So I'm half Scottish, half Irish. So I've got proper Celtic blood in me. That's probably why I'm so rebellious. So what's happened?
Yeah.
What's happened to the Scottish softies up there that vote for the Scottish National Party that say they want to leave the UK but want another nation to rule them?
That was something I could never get my head around.
Yeah, we want to leave the UK, but we want the European Union to rule over us.
Yeah, Mel Gibson would be so proud.
We're doing stereotypes now. Well, you called me a ball bag, mate. So you're going to get as good as you get.
Oh God,
Yeah.
Stereotypes. Really, you're going to say the word stereotypes? You've not heard of banter? Are you? You're a lefty.
You sound like a reform voter.
It has to be. Come on, that has to be a lefty.
Yeah,
Scottish
it's
people don't get offended over shit like that. Come on.
Yeah. Although, congratulations, you're out of your echo chamber. I'll give you some kudos for that. You're out of your echo chamber. You're in the real world now, and now you're trying to hold your own, aren't you? Right, let's get back on track. Yeah. Because all you're doing now is trying to conflate the situation. If you don't come up with any coherent conversation, I'm just going to kick you out. I'm going to kick you. Okay?
Yeah, it's what I used to do on my channel. Exactly the same thing. Make an argument, and you keep the chat going. But otherwise, you're just trying to make yourself a star of the show, and then that's not right to everybody else.
And he's gone. He's gone.
What a surprise!
No, I've kicked him, mate. He's gone.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh well, bye.
Yeah, it's like the minute you start just posting stuff like ho ho ho, it's like you're gone. Bye bye.
Yeah, you've lost it at that point.
Yeah, I didn't believe it. As soon as I realised it was a troll, everything that he said before that was bullshit. Everything he said, absolutely everything.
Yeah, some people, the same people, it seem to like to slide into the chat like that. Just slide in, seemingly, you know, just wanting to take a contrary stand. Nah, we know it is.
Yeah, we know you are. I don't think he's Scottish either, mate. To be honest with you, I don't think he's Scottish. I think if he had have come on the chat, I think he would have been, probably wearing a white hoodie over his head.
I would say probably when you say twatish instead of Scottish.
Yeah, twatish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even Steve knew. He says, so was that Jack or Jack's boyfriend?
You blew the cover, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, most likely.
I love it.
Most likely, yeah. Now, no doubt he's going to reappear in the chat at some point in some other incarnation because he'll have several accounts that he control with.
There's always a
Yeah,
way
yeah,
to get.
exactly. Yeah. Don't talk to me like that, boy. I'm an ex-police officer. I'll put you down, boy. Yeah, yeah. We all. I don't think. Do you remember that troll, Tom? That
Yeah,
was amazing.
I was here because I jumped on, didn't I?
Yeah,
I jumped on just after he'd gone.
yeah. Don't talk about the police like that, boy. I'll put you down, boy.
Yeah, yeah, unbelievable. That was
Yeah,
unbelievable. That guy.
he's been working on new accounts, right? Okay, that explains a lot.
I, I've sent a message to you, Vin, and it's purely not advice. That's what I just want to say. It's not advice, it's experience. But if you want to end him, there is actually a strategic way of doing so. Let's put it that way.
All right, I'll take a look at that in a bit. But to be honest with you, I think
I shouldn't
it's
have said the
more
word.
fun.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said the words "end him." That I didn't mean that quite the way that came out.
It's more fun knowing that he's on the outside, screeching and crying at the sky because he can't come in the live streams anymore. And I'd much rather have him like that,
I used
driving
to love it.
himself totally insane because neither of us are actually acknowledging him anymore. And he's
Oh,
going
on my
slightly mad
channel,
and
but
don't mind.
every Jack that I had on my channel, it was great because in the end, it's like the channel becomes like a machine. And in the end, it's just like I only had a few mods, but they were all really good, and they were just like it was like a firewall. You just know certain behaviors in the end, and it was just like a firewall. And what was so good is we just didn't even acknowledge them in the end, and that used to drive them crazy, absolutely crazy. The lack of acknowledgement, the lack of airtime. My God, did that make them crazy? Those types of people.
I mean, you've just got to look at his story. So his story was, right, he was losing the argument about COVID. So then he had to be a call center manager, as if that gives him any authority on anything. That just means you're a call center manager. It doesn't mean you know anything about the COVID virus or anything like that. You're in charge of a call center of track and trace. How is that relevant to your argument? It's not, is it? Not at all.
It's a young person's way of advancing themselves up a ladder in somebody else's mind, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's just fake rubbish. It's like when we get stories of, it's really not me messaging you; it's somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm not living with my parents anymore. Oops, I shouldn't have said that because I'm speaking to somebody else. Now I'm somebody else again. Oh, I'm not living with my parents anymore. It's like, do you really think that we're that stupid to fall for that rubbish? People in chat don't know what we're talking about because they don't know what's going on. But I apologize,
Yeah,
guys.
I can't. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I apologize, guys. Yeah, you don't know what's going on, but I'm not going to go on here because if we go into it, that means he's won and we're talking about him. So we're not going to mention it.
Yeah. I also got to apologise to chat because I can't see your chat today because I've literally just got StreamYard on, so I can't see a computer screen, so I can't see the chat. So I apologise, chat.
Yeah, how about this for a feature, right, Tom? So if you pay for the full service with StreamYard, they'll allow you to have your chat on screen. You know, that's really nice of them, isn't it? Most places already have that free.
Absolute wankers.
Yeah.
StreamYard, you absolutely suck. You really do absolutely suck. You have basically put a web version of OBS on screen and conned people over and over with every new feature you put on there as though it's a new feature, when actually it's just a feature that's been locked in there for years and you've just unlocked it and made out like you've upgraded it. I know what you're doing. You suck. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, and the thing is, right, we know Prism does it for free. Prism does it for free. You've already got your chat on your screen as you're live streaming.
And there's so many studios like StreamYard that just people aren't aware of just because StreamYard's got the name. Don't get me wrong, good on them, but they forgot the people that made them.
Exactly. I mean, I don't. It's got choices for having webinars. It's like, I'm not a business. I don't want webinars. I'm here to stream to YouTube.
What they've done is they've carefully put features in what you might call a business package or whatever that they know people like me want. So they've mixed it enough so that you go, I need that thing from the business package. I can't afford it.
Well,
You know,
I told you about it. I got it free for 7 days when I first started streaming again, and I didn't use any of the features. None of it. I didn't use any of it.
yeah,
The only thing
that's
I
right.
used, the only thing I used at the beginning was the option to play an intro video at the beginning, and they should give you that free anyway.
The
In my
features
opinion.
the features I want are all in the highest tier. So
Yeah.
that's why I won't even touch it. I mean, it's like even the one I've got. The StreamYard does the same thing. They offer you an extra camera, right? Which actually makes a lot of sense when you're doing a podcast, especially if you're doing news podcasts, because different angles can really break up what you're presenting. So it's actually a really big deal. Only one of them's got sound. That might sound logical to some people. To me, that's a brain-headed. Do you know what I mean? What if I want to switch from one room to another? What if, why wouldn't you have sound with the other camera?
It doesn't make any sense, does it? I think eventually I'm going to swap from StreamYard to something else. I mean, I get 20 hours free a month with them, but like you said, you can get that anywhere. You can get that on other platforms as well. So.
I would say it comes down to what you need it for. If it's doing everything you want right now for free, well, that's one thing, isn't it? You know, if it's doing everything you want for free, and I think that's where a lot of people get caught up, and when they're creating channels and that, they think they go and get stuff. I mean, I did it. They go and get stuff they don't need. They just think they're going to use, and really, to try and minimize the cost of growing a channel, you should get things when you're finding you need them, not when you think you may need them in the future.
Right, I'm going to bring up this, that misinformation we were talking about earlier. I'm going to bring that up. And I'm just going to point out to people to watch out for these sort of channels, because it looks very AI to me, mate. It really looks like it's an AI.
Right.
Looking at it, it's like the banner looks AI, and all it does what Basil the Great does. Basil the Great just steals content and puts it on as his own videos, because he's been called up about that a fair few times, but not giving people credit for their video footage. And we all know somebody else that does that as well, don't we, Tom? That's quite prominent on YouTube.
Oh yes. Oh yes, sir.
Yeah, we know that bigger channels troll our content and then use it for their own content. We know they do that.
People, the people probably aren't aware of that, Ben. They probably don't know what you're talking about.
So what will happen is bigger channels will go through little channels' content and then look for their content and then boost that content as their own and then make it their own content. And they won't steal the videos; they will just steal the idea for the video and then use it as their own idea for their own video.
We literally call it content harvesting. They come looking for ideas that they can't breed themselves. That's how it works. And because literally you put a video out that gets maybe 300 views, and they put one out literally the same or next day with the same content, and they get 10,000 views for it.
Yeah, and it's literally sometimes people have even stolen the things that I've said in the video and said it word for word.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all the time. It's people don't realise. Well, some do.
Trying to find it, trying to think where it was. Like, where is it?
I mean, it works both ways. Obviously, smaller channels try and content harvest bigger channels as well. Some of them do.
Right, this was it. Yeah, this was it. So I'll put this up on screen. I just want to make people aware of this, because you need to be aware, because there are some people out there trying to stir the pot of violence, and you need to be aware of it. And the only reason I knew this was bullshit is because I'd seen the footage before. Not everybody has seen footage from every single incident ever. So you can be misled by what people are putting out. So I'll just share this video and make you aware of it, and just be on the lookout. And if you see videos, don't take them for gospel that they're true. Do your own research on them, find out if they are true first before you start posting them. Right, so it's this one here. This, as you can see, this is me. This is total bullshit. The new footage is actually old footage from last year's summer riots. So this channel was claiming this is British intel. We'll have a look at it in a minute. Update, new footage emerges. This was actually an event that's happened recently, the one he's talking about here. Update, new footage emerged of 13-year-old boy beaten unconscious in Swindon school. That was covered on, I think it was Carl Benjamin that covered that the other day. And this is what they're saying about it. New footage has, this looks AI generated to me anyway, the whole layout, because I've seen other content on X doing exactly the same layout with this. Have you seen it, Tom?
Yep, loads of times.
Yeah, it's very, very familiar. In fact, Basil the Great tends to do this a lot as well. So I'll just read through it. So this is what they're claiming this footage shows. Update, new footage emerged of 13-year-old boy being unconscious at Swindon school. New footage has emerged showing the full brutality of the attack at St. Joseph's Catholic College, a 13-year-old boy beaten, kicked and whipped with a belt by a gang of pupils. The shocking video was filmed and shared on Snapchat. Now, the thing about this is there's a little bit of truth in this, because he's actually talking about the recent event, but he's also talking about the not so recent event as if it's part of this. It's not. So he says this: the victim was left hospitalized unconscious. That is true. He was in the Swindon incident. Police still refuse to take further action. His mother says she's furious, heartbroken, and justice is being denied. Right. So this is the footage. Right. So this is footage from the summer riots last year. I remember it because this was all over social media. This was the Muslim Defence League attacking patriots that were protesting last summer. As you can see, it's nowhere near a school. This isn't a school. This is a grass verge at the side of a bypass. It's nowhere near a school. So it's bogus footage. So, yeah, that's what we've been saying, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, and what this is what you've got to realise. So we're saying things about when I'm saying things about right-wing propaganda, you might think of a certain name or names in your head. No, I'm talking about the entire right wing. There are operators within it that are deliberately releasing misinformation, misleading information, and we've got it on our side just as bad as anywhere else. I'm not saying it's necessarily our people doing it. I'm just saying it's being released to incite our people.
Yes, it is, Steve. You're right. Isn't that footage from Bristol last year? Yeah, it is. Yeah, this channel, this place is passing it off as new footage. It obviously isn't new footage. Right, let's have a look at the.
They're either completely incompetent or they're doing it deliberately, and there's a lot of them doing it.
Yeah, so look at that. That avatar looks AI generated to me. AI generated. The banner looks AI generated. What do you think, Tom?
Even if it is, that doesn't tell you much, though, because a lot of people are just using AI to do everything now anyway, because they're lazy cunt. Sorry, from my language, but you know.
So this is who they claim to be.
How long they've been on there?
Independent analyst exposing Britain's decline. DM4 submissions, credit or removal.
I'd love to see their analytics. They only joined in November 2024. They've had a quick rise.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to see their analytics to see how. You talked about AI. Well, maybe you're right then, because maybe they've paid for those subs. That doesn't seem right to me. Most people don't get on X and blow up that quick.
A lot of it is just inflammatory stuff. I mean, there's truth mixed in with fiction with it, which is
Can you have a look at
how you do it.
Could you have a look at their profile, Vin? Because that is an extraordinary amount of followers to gain in that time when they don't have a name that anybody recognizes. That's an extraordinary amount of followers.
One subscription. Let's have a look at the one subscription. Who's that? Have a look at it.
That to me
Elon
says
Musk. One subscription. What? Elon Musk. It's not the real Elon Musk.
Oh, I'm just going to say.
Oh, it is. He subscribed to Elon Musk.
Oh, he's subscribed to Elon Musk.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, that says to me bogus followers.
Right. So it says here he's following 1,737. That's probably all the people he's harvesting content from.
Yeah.
And he's got 37.1 followers, 37,000. So
if you look at what he's posting, that's a lot of followers in such a short amount of time for the crap that he's posting.
Look at the comments and impressions he's getting. 5 comments.
Not many. Not many.
Yeah,
That doesn't.
18.
That right. That right. Okay. I know it's not concrete proof, but that is pretty much what you expect to see on an AI, not AI, sorry, on a bot generated channel, i.e., he has bought most of his followers,
Yeah, the
most
thing is, right,
likely.
mate, what could be happening because these things look so similar? Maybe it's because they are. Maybe it's just one person running all these
Could
channels.
be. Could be. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, look at that. I get more than that.
Yeah.
Seven,
Yeah.
seven comments.
You've got 40,000 people following you, and that's the kind of engagement you get. Nah.
So look at this one. That's shocking. It's like 4 comments. Yeah. Yeah, there's something not right about this, mate. It's everyone.
Yeah. Bought and paid
Everyone's
for,
the
mate.
same.
Bought and
Everyone's the
paid for,
same.
mate. Yeah.
Yeah, look, 2 comments.
Right. This is
60
listen,
retweets.
everybody. This is a guide to figuring out who is paying for their subs and who's earning them.
That's
This
shocking.
is the lesson here, right here. This is how you find out. This is one of the ways. Then you look at their analytics, and it all lines up. And also the time it took them to get there with the crap content they're putting out.
Oh,
It doesn't fit.
He had a bit of a hit with that one. But that's because he's talking about grooming, which is why it probably had a lot of connections.
And it's a repost.
Yeah.
Not even his post.
Repost is like, yeah, let's have a look at some of his actual comments. Yeah, he's just got people that are just obviously outraged by it, aren't they? And
Yeah.
that's what they do. That's what they do. That's the sort of content they'll actually, which is probably why he's put out the fake footage, because he just wants to draw people in. He knows people are angry at the minute, and that's going to get the most clicks.
Yeah. And that could be even could be for money generation. It might not even be for political purposes, but either way, it causes the same damage.
Yeah. I mean, obviously this, but yeah, it just doesn't ring true, does it?
No, not the numbers, mate. The numbers don't tally up.
Let's have a look at Basil the Great. Let's have a look at his numbers, shall we? Just to see, just out of interest. Because he is quite a well-known one.
Yes, he is.
Right, so look. Basil the Great. No, not from me, you stupid. Search. Here we go. Search, right. Here we go. Should come up with him. Let's have a look at him.
Can't believe I said the C word on your stream. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right, mate. Don't worry about it. Right, so he's got 208,000 followers. So I'm actually following him because let's see how many he's getting on his. So again.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even notice that myself before. Good shout, Vin. Good shout, mate. Good flipping shout, mate. That's
shocking. For that amount of
you're
followers,
bang
that's
on.
shocking.
You're bang on. You hit the nut there, mate.
I mean, look at this. 7 comments. 20 out of what? How many followers has he got?
The only time you see numbers like that. Sorry, go on,
look what he's doing. He's got 4,891. That's because he's content harvesting from people. He's probably looking at people's posts that they're putting up and then taking them for himself.
Oh yeah, they'll be all the most prominent posts.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
So, and the only time that you get a channel like that size or similar that won't have the engagement is say on YouTube when it's been shadow banned. They don't do that on X. So therefore, the engagement numbers should be reflective of the amount of followers you've got. There is no way could be posting the amount of content these people post and have such low engagement with those high numbers. It just doesn't work that way. When did he open his account, mate?
So I think that's fairly recent as well because he's not been around that long, has he? So yeah, joined November 2023. He's got that many followers.
Who's been buying the followers? Who's been buying the followers?
Yeah, it just doesn't reflect it with the amount of people that are actually looking at his content, are they?
No, it doesn't work
I mean,
out.
look how low those
Sorry.
numbers are. Those numbers are really low. I mean,
Yeah.
that's quite high for a medium-sized.
If that was if you had, say, I don't know, even 5,000 followers, that would be about right, maybe, for some posts.
Yes, that's probably telling you how many real subscribers he's got.
Yeah, it might have somewhere
Look at
between it'll be between somewhere between 1 and 5,000.
You'd expect the numbers to be way high. I mean, the comments themselves, 5 comments.
And this is why people need to remember X is not just the bastion of truth. You know, it's unfiltered, and unfiltered means that you get all kinds of content.
Let's have a look at something. And they're constantly posting as well. Constantly posting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't miss a
I
beat.
mean, that makes a little bit more sense. The 47 comments, the 353 retweets, the 140.
Is that more recent? Is that a more recent post?
14K. But it's probably, what is it? Has he retweeted somebody? Yeah, he's just stolen footage. It's just stolen footage. There's no credit for that.
But also as well, Vin, look, it's 4 hours ago, right? At the moment, his content's going to get more engagement because more people are looking for this footage. So you get a wave of people when that comes. You'd have it if you've got to put it on your channel, even on mine. You just get a wave of people that come looking. So channels like his will get an artificial bump at that time. I say it's artificial. It's actually organic. I shouldn't say artificial.
So let's have a look at his post. What a terrifying statement from the UK immigration officer, and yet they let them in anyway. I think it's inevitable. It's just sensationalist.
That's out of context. That's out of context. Well, where's the context to it?
This is the sort of thing, though, that AI would mistakenly do, isn't it?
I don't, mate. No, I'm not. I'm not buying the AI. I'm buying just like you said, a content harvester, someone trying to make money or someone trying to misinform. I don't know which.
I'm looking to see if we can find the same comment that we saw before from that other account, because that would kind of like, yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you,
I thought I did actually see it earlier on here that he posted it as well. He might have deleted it. But it's the same sort of content all the time. I mean, look at that. How old's that now? That's 10 hours old. It's only had 14 comments, 71 retweets. You know, you'd expect it to be a lot higher than that.
And that's during a time when people are seeking out this content. So he should really, with the numbers he's got, with everything that's going on in the country now, he should be smashing it. The amount of content he puts out all day, all night. That's how you grow your channel. He should be smashing it. Why isn't he? With those numbers, the numbers don't add up.
It's always the same type of content with these channels, though. Always the same type of content.
Yeah, and always somebody else's content, not their own.
They do nothing. Here we go. Look, right. So when was this? This was 11 hours ago. The same footage, but not saying it's new footage. This is just saying Muslim Defence League beats white boy sends act of violence. This is what the UK is facing now. If you stand up to them, they come for you. So it's the same footage being twisted a different way.
Yeah. So there you go.
This is old footage. So what's the odds of 2 different channels of the same nature putting up the same footage on the same day? I mean, this is 11 hours old. Should we have a look and see how old the other footage is and see if they were put up at the same time?
Yeah, go on, go for it.
So that's 11 hours, isn't it? That's 11 hours old.
Yeah.
Right, I've got to find that other footage now again now. Right, go back to it. I should be able to find it.
These are the people you've got out there, though. Seriously, to put a point to this is going on all the time. This is not, we haven't just dipped lucky.
Yeah, this is it, right. So, that's not it. Wrong one. Right, it's down here somewhere, isn't it? All right.
It
We'll
pays
get
just
to
to
it.
go when people repost. When you're looking at something, it pays just to go to the source if you can.
Right, let's have a
If
look.
it's
Right.
there.
Now, what's the odds, Tom? What are the odds that that footage is
It's 4 hours
posted?
old.
It's posted an hour before it.
Come on, is it?
Hang on, let's get it on here. Where is it? Right, where the fucking hell is it? Where does it tell you where it's been posted or not? Here we go. It's down here, isn't it? There we go. Right, so where's this? So that was posted at 9:28 a.m. That one, and that's
Well,
had, look at the views on that one. That's had
yeah,
more views than Basil the Great's footage. So you know what it looks like to me? It looks like he tried the footage on that channel with a different message and thought it's not getting many clicks, and then made up a bullshit headline.
I'd like to say one guy's content harvested the other, but no, because there's too many similar posts. There's too many of them. You know,
So
and as I said, the numbers don't add up.
wow, that's had a lot of footage. So whose is this then? Whose is this footage? All right, so this has had, because of that, that's had near 730,000 views, mate.
Right, so bear in mind these channels are producing zero original content. Zero. This is pure money making, or an attempt at it. 730,000. It's not bad.
Yeah, you've got to watch out for those sort of channels, guys, because they're not. I won't say they're being malicious. They're just manipulating information to make money from it, aren't they, Tom?
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, the reason those numbers don't add up at the beginning, because what they do is they buy subscribers to bypass the actual hard work involved in growing a channel, and B, it's a way of numbers. Okay, if you look at my X account, you'll see that I've got something like 1,170 followers, and I'm only following 93 people. There's a reason for that. People get shitty with me about it, but I'm a creator. If I follow the same amount of people, so it's a it's a slow build to try and get followers when you're not following them back. But you're a creator. So and the reason I do that, by the way, is because people will take a snapshot of your channel, look at those two numbers, and then decide whether they're going to watch you. So in his case, what he's done is he's just cheated and he's just bought 30,000 followers, and then the rest may be organic. And it's done to trick you into thinking he's big, I'll watch him. That's as simple as that. It's just that's why they do it.
Hang on a minute. I'm just reading what Nicola's saying. It's like, right, let's have a look. I think Connor realised quite how. I don't know what she's on about. Right, then Tom, what do you think about Michael Gove not releasing his debate between Conor Thompson? Yeah, I've seen that. Right, so obviously I don't like Michael Gove. I think he's a fucking snake. I think he's a piece of shit. One of the people and one of the reasons why we're in the state we're in is because of him. Absolute scumbag.
Can I quickly just mention something you mentioned earlier on, by the way, just what's on my mind.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier on about civil war, and you were talking about the politicians, right wing politicians.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that those some of those ones, even the ones that I support, they have been panicking when we mentioned things like civil war and shutdowns recently. So one of them panicked quite a lot and said that
Yeah.
we shouldn't be doing it and blah blah blah. But then they go out and say all the Islamists are trying to kill us, and things like we're on our 11th crusade or whatever it is, and
right.
they
So
want to
Tom's
make up
talking
their
about Nick Tenconi. Tom's talking about Nick Tenconi.
yeah,
And
and they want to make up their minds
right.
what they want because he's using some very inflammatory language, and I support him. I'm part of his party, so do not think that I'm against him. But the language he's using, considering that he's telling people he doesn't want a civil war, he needs to be careful.
the thing is, right, and Tom's right. Tom mentioned this earlier. It's the fact that his titles to his videos are very inflammatory, very inflammatory. And if
They're
you read
coming
his
to kill us
title of his
all.
videos, you would think that all he wants is to fight.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable assumption to make from his title of his videos, isn't it?
Yeah, two I saw today. One of them said the Islamists are coming to kill us all. That was the title of one, and the other one was how it was our 10th or 11th crusade. I can't remember which it is, but yeah,
And I can't help but think, is that a bit clickbaity to drive more traffic to his videos?
it might be. It might be because his messages aren't too bad, but at the same time, when you're saying Islamists are coming to kill us all, and then at the same time you're trying to calm the country and say no, don't think about fighting. Aren't those two opposing messages?
Yeah, and the thing is, right, I like Nick Tenconi as well, but I'll never forget the fact that he's also a politician. And people should
Exactly.
remember that. He's also a politician.
Yeah, yeah. And I wouldn't claim to know what he thinks, but I just thought some of the things that he put out, considering the message that he gave, that's the thing that is important to add here. Considering the message he gave when he thought people were going to kick off, he then continues to use inflammatory language afterwards. I'm not saying he should tone his language down. He needs to say what he wants, but I'm just saying it sends two different messages.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like in one breath, he's saying we've got to stand up and fight. And then in the next, it's like, we've got to be peace, we've got to turn the other cheek. It's like, well, what are you on about? And I think
Yeah,
this is what people were trying to say the other day. He's trying to be a political leader, but he's also trying to be true to his religion as well. And they don't mix and match together, really, because he wants
I
to be a
think
strong, stoic leader, but on the other hand, his religion is telling him to turn the other cheek. So he's got a bit of conflict of interest going on there with what he's doing and what he's saying, I think. And
when you're talking about,
it's causing a
sorry,
little
go
bit
on,
of duality in the message that he's sending out, I think.
when you're talking about crusades, you're saying my religion is okay with crusades because it has been in the past, so let's do another one. I mean, what does that mean? That means going to war.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at his flag. He's taken on the Crusader flag. He's got the spear and the sword in the flag. It's like
And
you're
I don't
sending out
mean
the
it any.
messages, mate. You're sending out the messages.
Yeah, and I like Nick Tenconi. I actually I've met him a few times. He's a good guy. He really is a genuine, decent guy. But I just don't know if he realizes what he's doing at the moment with the
No,
messages. That's all.
I said this the other day, and I think this is what's happened, mate. I think he suddenly woke up to the fact he thinks, holy crap, I could be in charge of a party that is basically going to be accused of kicking off a civil war because of the rhetoric. That's why I think he suddenly came to the realization. That's why he looked like a scared rabbit in the headlights, mate, when he made that
Yeah,
video.
but now he's continued with the rhetoric.
Yeah, like I said, I don't get it. It's like he's schizophrenic. Like one day he's like, we're going to be peaceful. Next day, well, we're going to fight. I mean, look at what happened when Charlie Kirk got brutally murdered. He was saying, we're being killed. We've got to fight back. And
Right.
it's like, what are you on
Exactly.
about?
And then on that day when he sort of seemed quite scared, and I'd say scared. I don't mean that as a disrespect. He seemed shook.
But
Um,
you know how sometimes that you really like somebody, and then it just takes them to say something out of character or a bit weird, and then
yeah,
suddenly you realise that they're not sincere in what they've been saying all along.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
happened to me after that video. When I look back at his other videos after that, I realised that he was talking the talk, but it just sounded fake after that.
Oh yeah. I
And
mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Nick Ginconi, and I'm not even saying this is the wrong thing to do because doing his job, you've got to present an image. But yeah, nobody in terms of me, you, or anybody else has seen who Nick Ginconi is in a quiet space.
no,
We've only seen the projection character that he wants us to see, but that's true of any politician. But yeah, I mean,
I
we've
think
only seen
I
the
think the
TV
thing as well,
character.
and this goes for any political leader. You only see the true person when they're in the crisis, when they're in the leadership role, and you see them doing the job. That's the only time you will ever see them true to themselves, because
Yeah,
they've got to
I
be.
mean, that's right. I tell you, I can give you, for instance, for that, Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson, um, when I worked with him, there was a whole team of us. And you can imagine the first sort of few days, it's all laughing, joking, because you're a group of lads.
Right.
Um,
I don't want to like. Sorry, Tom. I'll just go on to this thing. Right. This is what I don't like. This is what religion does, though. Because in the Bible, when Jesus is talking about his enemies, he literally talks about turning the other cheek and not retaliating. He says, just turn the other cheek. If you hit, turn the other cheek. It doesn't mean this. This is what happens when religious texts are open to interpretation. They can be interpreted any way you want them to mean, to excuse anything. So this
and
guy
they
here, saying,
often and
yeah,
often and usually are.
yeah, turn the other cheek doesn't actually mean never fight back. That's exactly what it means. It means something more like when you're symbolically humiliated, don't flinch. It doesn't mean that at all. That's not
That's
how.
whoa. Where does it say that? That's your take. That's your take. And this is the problem with trying to talk about Bible stuff. Is that you will never be able to pin anybody down because they'll all split the religion into a spectrum when it becomes convenient and interpret it the way that they wish. You can't have it like that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got nothing against anybody that their religious beliefs, being Christians or anything
Me
like
either.
that. But this is the issue I have with it: is that when it comes into question, you can interpret it any way you like to excuse it. That's the issue I have with it, or to excuse what anybody's actually said when they
You
say.
find it a lot. You find it a lot in the debates online, the big debates when they do the big debates. And I'll give you a person who's the worst at it, the worst one for it, and I like him, but it's Jordan Peterson. Never listen to a conversation with him about religion because it's mind-numbingly irritating because he will not be pinned down on his
Yeah.
belief, and it's like
Right.
pointless. It's like, why are you having the conversation?
Right. Sorry, I'm going to answer this question. Fair play to Nick. He gets his boots on the ground and faces Antifa down. He has his faults, like all of them, but I don't see many others out there on the street. Yep, I'm not faulting him. I'm not faulting him at all. We're just saying that he's contradictory in his message sometimes, and that's legitimate criticism.
I've interviewed Nick Tinconi, I think it's 4 times now. I'm out on the streets with him. I will go and follow
Right,
him again.
Tom, just excuse me a minute, mate. Right, so this is the issue, isn't it? No, sorry. The idea you never defend yourself is the modern interpretation.
Uh, which
Right.
hold on, modern interpretation. So modern being most people in the modern era. Then, so does that mean you're out of touch, or which way round does that work? Who's right and who's wrong? Who decides that? You just open up a string of questions, and no answers. And I'm not. That's not me picking on religion. That's me picking specifically on you. Nothing to do with religion. That's you. You have come up with those terms, not religion. Religion didn't do that. You have done that.
Literally, when a Christian says we must turn the other cheek, it means we mustn't retaliate. Yeah, that's why they do it. That's why Christians are usually the peaceful ones, because that's what Jesus told them to do, not to retaliate.
And in fairness to the religion, when people have actually done that, it's in term not in war, obviously, but it's done a lot of good.
Yeah. Like I
In some
said, I've got nothing
situations.
against religion. I've got nothing against Christianity or anything like that. That's why I don't debate religion. I don't debate that sort of thing because it's so open to interpretation. You can't really argue it in good faith because it's so open to
Yeah,
interpretation.
that's true. And the other thing is, people get so upset about it. It's like how you said earlier on. You don't do party politics. It's pretty much the same reason, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same reason that we do party politics, mate, is because it's
Yeah,
so tribalistic and so divisive. That's
yeah,
why I don't get involved in it.
yeah. And you end up upsetting people you didn't even mean to, but it's just one of
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah. So not having a go at you, not having a go at you at all. I'm just saying that it's so open to interpretation. It can mean anything you want it to mean, and you simply can't debate that. Yeah.
And sorry. And again, I hope I didn't mean to be rude, but
No,
modern
you're
era
not.
and
No, not.
modern era and
Well, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute, Tom. Right. Well, you would want to understand a text how it was intended when written, wouldn't you? there's a ton of symbolism in the Bible you will misinterpret if you don't understand the references. And this is the issue, because even the references can be misinterpreted. They can be open to interpretation.
But hang on again, though. You've just done the same thing, exactly the same thing again. So you're saying that people should be interpreted it the way it was originally written, but who says that? I don't understand. Which is it? Because
Right.
it's been
Do you know what,
modernized.
Tom, I'm not even going to go down this route, because the thing is, right, this is why there's so many denominations of Christianity, because they all argue over the interpretation of the
look,
Bible.
all you got to
That's
do,
the-
look at Christianity, modernized, very little blood. Islam, not modernized, lots and lots of blood. That's why it's modernized usually.
Yeah, put it this way, right? We're not having a go at Christians. I'd much rather prefer that this be a Christian country than an Islamic country. Put it that way. I celebrate Christmas. I am a Christian. I was baptized a Christian. So I've got nothing against Christians.
I'm going to hell. I wasn't. I'm going to hell.
I've just got. That's why I don't debate in religious debates. I used to a long time ago in the great debate community. I just don't do it anymore, because I learned my lesson. That, you know, this is why they have so many debates at Speaker's Corner about religion, because it's just all open to interpretation.
Ben, did I tell you that I was a Mormon?
No, mate.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was actually Jedi. I was Jedi for a bit, and then yeah.
You know, there's actually they actually created that as a religion. You know that, don't you? You can find that listed.
Yeah, I would actually follow that. I would actually follow that as a religion. Actually.
Unreal.
I mean, come on, Tom. Who wouldn't want to be a warrior monk? You know,
I would love it personally. Sign me up. Sign me up. That sounds like Warcraft. I love it.
Yeah, you get to be a warrior monk. You get your own laser sword. You get to mess about with the Force. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
I would rather that than being stuck to a cross, if I'm honest, because I get a laser sword. The laser sword cuts the deal for me.
Look, okay. Look, I'm talking to the guy who's the comment. Look, let's just agree to disagree. All right, this is just one thing we're not going to agree on. All right, yeah.
The thing is, okay, look, to that person, it's very difficult when you're talking to. I don't know what Vin is, but for myself, mostly atheist, I suppose. I suppose that's one word you could use for what I am, but I don't know if it totally fits. But it's hard for us to have conversations about religion, especially on here, and really make any sense of each other, because we're talking a different language. If we don't believe you do, and then you've got all these different beliefs about it as well, and split, you know, it's even harder to talk about than it is if you're both religious. We're not on the same mindset.
Back again, there was a rule in the Roman Empire at the time that if you were allowed to strike a non-Roman citizen across the left cheek but not on the right, making turn the other cheek a symbolic gesture of defiance. Fair enough. I'll take your word for it. All right. I'm not arguing that point anymore.
Okay, well, all you need to do is install Roman values into you then, and you'll be fine. And go just understand the laws from all the way back then, and follow those laws. Follow those gods. Because at that time, Rome would have had a lot of their own gods, so perhaps follow them. Just to say, it was the thing of the time. That was the time.
I'm just looking at the chat, mate. Sorry, yeah.
I hear Jupiter is particularly a big one. Sorry, go on.
Right, I don't know about you, but my brain's starting to go to mush, mate. So I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. So,
okay, mate.
Is there anything else you want to say? Is there anything like you want to promote your channel, mate? Before we go,
you can find me at Zero News Army. Zero News is the name of the channel. If you can't find me there, just share the risk. No, just to if you don't mind repeating the message I made earlier on, and I know it sounds so trivial, but again, any women you know, hear of that are alone, feel isolated, single mums, things like that. Who are scared and all the stuff they're hearing at the moment, just let them know there are local groups that will support them, that are there for them, and will make them feel so much less alone. And I really have heard it make a difference for some people. That's why I'm saying it.
All right, so he's not letting it go. So they've said this. How is me describing the context of a passage translate into that ought to be pagan? What?
I was making. Oh God! Can't you tell I was taking the piss? I was trying. I can't even bother being.
No, me either. Look, we'll have to agree to disagree on this point, right? Nothing against your faith, your Christianity, or anything like that. We'll have to agree to disagree. Okay?
But also, as well, you should also realise when someone's being coy and silly, and I was being silly.
Yeah. Good one tonight, Vin, and Betty's calling. Cheers all night, Kenny. See you later, mate.
Night, mate.
Yeah, this is right. This is the reason why I don't have religion on here. Yeah, I keep my religious beliefs to myself because it will always offend somebody. That's why I keep my political viewpoints to myself, my personal political viewpoints to myself, because it will always end up offending somebody.
That's right.
And that's not what this is about. We're trying to get our country back. You know, we're not here to cause division or anything like that. But
when I was a kid, my dad used to say to me before we went into youngster. My dad used to say to me before we went into a pub, no politics, no religion. Not in a pub, you know. And these are meeting places we're in now, and I realise these are some of the topics people want to talk about, but inside the right, we're divided enough, and I think we got to be careful getting into these kinds of conversations because we would get more divided.
Yeah, I will say this, that I believe I was talking about this with Tom the other day. I think the resurgence in Christianity is a desperate thing for the British people to find some kind of cultural identity, because what was the main thing that glued everybody together in the past? Religion. And that's why there's a big. Yeah.
I'll be honest, Vin. When I saw it rising, I actually felt like it was what would you call it? Many people's way of trying to put religion as a power, as it used to be, back into play as a way of fighting Islam. I saw it as a political move rather than a religious one at first. People have taken it religious now, but I saw it as a maneuver to try and fight Islam.
Yeah,
because it could be justified on.
I think it is. Yeah, it's to push back religiously against the takeover of Islam. But
but the problem is the church is weak.
Working, mate. I can't see it working.
No, because they need to get the church right wing, and at the moment it's left wing.
Yeah, and the trouble is, right, that Christianity went through a reformation where it stopped being like Islam, because at one time it was just as bad as Islam, Christianity. It went through the Reformation. It made it more palatable to the masses and that sort of thing. And it became its benign state that it is today and now. So that's why we favour Christianity, because it has the peaceful, good kind of moral type of thing about it. It's teaching good morals to society, whereas Islam isn't. And that's why we prefer it. So, and he just wrote this as well. You reference turning the other cheek. I'm not offended. I'm just trying to clarify what. Oh, I can't fucking read that. My eyes are fucking blurred, but whatever. Is it altruistically? Altruistically. I'm trying to help. Right, fair enough. Fair enough. You've helped. So we agree to disagree. All right.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I got the modernisation thing in my head. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like.
You actually just said we had a reformation. Then it's like because it was as bad as Islam, and I'm thinking exactly why we don't use it from 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't mean any harm.
Old Testament, because the Old Testament is all fire and brimstone. And stoning people to death, whereas the New Testament is the new fluffy version of Christianity,
with the most insidious secret inside it. But I'm going to leave it there because otherwise I'll upset everybody else.
Yeah, me too. We'll leave it there. We're getting into dangerous. No, not autistically. I'm a female, by the way. Right, you're autistic. All right, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Said it your own way.
I'm
Cool.
literally
No problem.
autistic. Right, okay, fair enough. Right, so that leads me on to some other suspicions that I've got. Right,
About.
I'm not going to say it on
Okay.
live, mate.
Okay.
But I'll
Mm.
let's just say that little friend may be back,
Okay.
and I'll talk about it in a bit because it's
No
a
problem.
bit
Just.
convenient, that, isn't it? Right, so I'm going to call it a night, guys. Thanks for all coming along. Tom has been excellent again.
Cheers,
As
guys.
always great to have him on and that kind of thing.
Thanks for having me on, Ben. Thanks,
Yeah, no
thanks
problem,
everyone.
mate. No problem. You're welcome. Anytime you want to come in, mate. Anytime you want to come in. Yeah.
Cheers, buddy.
All
Thank you, and thank you, guys.
So, but we're nearly on the 3-hour mark again, mate.
Bloody hell, really?
Yeah, it's been going for 2 3/4 hours. Yeah.
Fair play, Ben. You done another one. Done another short, long one.
Yeah, but the thing is, right? It's like right. Okay, so actually, I can vouch for being based and means well. That's fair enough. Well, like I said, I'll take your word for it. Good night, all, and God bless. Yeah. To you too.
Yeah. Good night. Good night. Have a good one.
Tom and Vin, thank you, and take care. Yeah.
Good night.
Okay. Right. Night, everybody. Have a good one. I hope the fireworks don't go on too long. They've stopped here now. Our area, they've stopped, so it's gone. Right, Tom. Pleasure having you on, mate. This is Vindicator.
Cheers, bro.
Signing off.